What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Underdog Sports Podcast. I am your host, Nolan Skeen, alongside Antonio Fiore Salestrina. Gentlemen, how the heck are we?
I farted.
I'm good.
You farted during my intro? That's so disrespectful. While I was doing the intro? Was it like on cue with when I said your name?
Maybe a little bit beforehand.
Oh, okay.
Because
that would have been cool.
He had the pre-fire.
That would have been cool. You got excited. Football.
NFL football.
It's the time has come.
Do we say like a eulogy for the regular season, or that's not needed?
No, am I in the minority here? I think like the regular season was actually trash this year.
I was just gonna say, give the NFL season a rating out of 10 this year.
I'd say it was probably like a 6.5.
That was the number I was.
Whereas
thinking.
like usually it's like 8.5, 9.
Yeah. No.
It felt a little underwhelming.
Like
no?
there was definitely parity this year, but like last year there was.
Last
so
year was
much
crazy.
of it. This year was definitely crazy, but like in a very like just underwhelming way with all the quarterback injuries and stuff like that.
I think that's one huge takeaway from the season this year is just the underwhelming quarterback play across the board. It's like you see so many games where it's like C.J. Beathard versus Derek Carr or versus like Desmond Ridder or like Baker May. It's like where are the good quarterbacks? Like what happened? Like
nobody lets go. Like the quarterbacks that they draft, like they don't give them room to grow. It's like if you're not like Patrick Mahomes within 2 years now,
yeah, then they just throw you away.
out.
Well, Nolan's buddy played really well. Speaking of people that don't get time to pan out,
Who
do you think? Your BFF, your favorite
Carson
quarterback,
Wentz.
Carson
ever.
Wentz?
He had a good game.
I was so upset that they brought him into the game.
Dude, he threw a fucking dime
He looked
to Nakua.
he looked decent.
Dude, he could still be a starter somewhere.
He's gonna weasel his way back in, dude, somewhere.
I mean, when
It'll be with the Rams. Like somehow Stafford will leave and he'll just be there.
You think so? Is he
Wow,
not?
dude.
Is he not just a worse version of Stafford though?
I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean,
So why would they do that?
his last full season as a starter with the Colts, his stats weren't bad at all.
But he
But
got
yeah,
hurt
it's
like
Carson
always.
Wentz.
Every time he
That's
gets
what
a
I
starting
mean.
job, he starts out so well and then just
And then
either
he
gets
No,
hurt
it's very true.
or the team starts to be shit. Like
And he's just not like that kind of leader that you would like.
he's
a
not. I
quarterback
don't
to
think he's a
be.
leader. I think that's probably part of the problem.
Yeah.
Like guys don't feel like they can like play for him.
Well, that's why a team like the Rams is good, where they know McVay is the one that's going to be like, maybe not giving the rah-rah speech, but he has the vision.
I feel like you need a player though. It can't always just be the coach.
I'm saying in the system that they have, it makes sense that maybe like a underspoken person like Carson Wentz might actually work there.
And I don't think Aaron Donald is a leader either. Like he's not the.
It's Sean McVay saying that we're just gonna be smarter than everybody else.
I think that's a poor idea. I mean, obviously it worked in getting them to the Super Bowl that one year, but I mean, other than that, what have they really done?
They made it to the playoffs. They made a couple runs.
Yeah, but they had some shitty seasons too.
It's
Like,
true.
It's been kind of a roller coaster. I don't know. I think it's just
They're
like,
a weird ass team.
They are weird.
they don't have like a.
They've
It's
never
weird. They don't have
been-
like an identity.
during their down seasons though. They've never been like awful.
Awful, yeah.
Like one of the like 5 worst teams in the
But
league.
what is their?
They were when they went 5 and. What
Well-
did they go 5 and?
Oh, did they
11,
do that?
10?
Did they do that last
Yeah.
year?
2 years
Those-
ago, 3 years, 4. I don't even know.
What, the year after the Super Bowl? I thought they just went 8-8.
we have this conversation.
It was
every year.
it was last year, I think,
think
wasn't
there
it? Because
was-
Matt Stafford got hurt.
I don't know. One year they were really bad.
They were really bad one of these years.
Regardless, he's right though. What is the Rams' identity? What do the like?
There's not. It used to be like Jared Goff's arm,
It used to be Todd Gurley. That's what
and
it
Todd.
was.
It was before that. It was Todd Gurley, and then Todd Gurley was on his way out.
Todd.
But dude, I don't know. They just
Sal
put
loved Todd
together
Gurley.
good team. I don't know. They obviously draft well because they gave up a ton of first round picks.
They
for
still
all
have
the
good young
they had.
players. So.
Yeah, but now they have like up and coming players on defense. Puka Nakua. They just
Kyron Williams.
know how to find.
Kyron
and
Williams was a good.
They know how to find and develop talent.
Him and Puka Nakua are like single-handedly keeping their
So,
fucking franchise alive.
I
at this
guess that
point.
is their identity is identifying young talent. That would be. I would say that's what their MO is.
Are they Dortmund?
Yeah, I guess. They need like a. This might be the year that they try to like, I don't know, maybe trade for a high pick and maybe try to get someone in the draft for a QB. I think
what?
I think
you
it
need a
might be.
succession plan.
Trade
'Cause
Cup.
I mean, maybe. But
I
what are
think
you
that's
getting,
that might be a good idea.
But what are you getting
he's-
for Cooper Kupp at this point?
Probably not.
It
a
might be
first
too
round,
late.
Honestly.
Yeah, it might be too
Oh,
late.
you're getting like a third for him. Like, I don't think anyone's really like paying hand over fist for Cooper Kupp.
I don't think so either.
He
Especially
looks
with his
old.
history.
He
I mean,
looks old.
he's like probably one concussion away from
So, there does have to be a succession plan for Stafford. I mean, we don't have to dive fucking deep into the Rams. I mean, the Rams are still fucking alive, but like, there does need to be some sort of succession plan to say, all right, Stafford's getting up there. Like, it's probably not Carson Wentz.
I'm sure they've started to have the conversations. I mean, because he's been hurt.
All right, I want to say this, or I want to ask this question. Out of all these teams that are like not the Ravens, the Cowboys,
Niners.
the Bills, the Niners, like the major teams, do the Rams not have the best shot of making the Super Bowl?
I think most people think that.
Out of the top teams, I mean,
Out of like the
them
top two in each conference, like a dark horse. And
Them
I'm
are
like,
the Dolphins.
Dolphins, them, Browns. People talk about maybe.
It's true.
do you consider the Lions to be in the top?
No, so like the Lions would be a dark horse Super Bowl team in my opinion.
I mean, why not?
I don't think that they would. I don't know. I struggle
I
with
don't-
that
think
one.
I think the general consensus of people would be like the Lions are in the Super Bowl.
It's very true.
Yeah, but also
But
too,
they're
they were
also-
one bad call away from possibly being the one seed and getting the bye.
Yeah, which is right, and that's why I don't think they're quite in the same category as.
Hold on.
it's weird because
Two steps back. They won that Dallas game. They were the one seed.
they would have had a
Maybe.
shot.
Yeah.
They would have had a shot in the last week. Yeah.
But if the same way everything shook out, and they just won that game.
I have
they
no
were the
idea.
one
They
seed.
would have had the same record.
I think it would have came down to a tiebreaker. I'm not sure how it would have worked out.
They would have
The
the same record as
NFL
the 49ers.
literally called in and said not happening.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Absolutely, dude.
Like, come on, man. Like, really? Like,
So,
it was
so what the fuck do you think this is? We're talking about the NFL, dude.
that's just crazy. Like,
But also, they needed this Rams and Lions.
but does Roger just have like a big red button and he just pushes it and he's like, no, like
think so.
That cannot
He
happen.
has like the doomsday phone on his desk, like the red phone, and he just picks it up.
Or what's like there's like a hot mic button that people have like when they're in the studio. Like he has that where he just slaps it and it's like, all
He's
right,
got like a
get the refs.
dungeon in his
Dude,
basement.
like if the Lions were to make like a signing or a trade this offseason, that would like put them way over the top. Like they just all of a sudden ran into Justin Jefferson or something like that and added him to like the roster. You'd be like, oh my god, the Lions are so fucking good.
Yeah.
I think
They're probably going to the Super Bowl.
they have a
There
good
would
eye
be-
for talent
Roger
too.
Goodell
Sorry.
would pull like a fucking David Stern. With
Be like,
Chris
whoa.
Paul. He's like, Chris Paul's not going to the Lakers.
You're probably right. Like you would just be like, that can't happen.
He was like, this team can't be that good.
So I kind of agree with your point. I mean, Detroit not like I guess you don't think they're sneaky, but as like a dark horse of not the top teams.
And I do agree with you that like a lot of people would be very surprised if they made it to the Super
Like,
Bowl.
all right,
Like,
so like if I named a couple teams, like if I said them or the Chiefs, obviously people would say the Chiefs is way more likely.
Right.
which is weird because I feel like has the season gone on, you should say
If
the
you're
Lions.
actually watching football,
Yeah.
you would say the Lions are more likely to make it.
Because we should pivot to the Chiefs because the Chiefs are like really bad right
You
now.
wanted to say something. Did you want to say something or no?
I was gonna say if you watch football like this year, you would say like, yeah, the Lions over the Chiefs. But if you've been watching football for the last 15 plus years,
The Chiefs.
you would say the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
you
mean,
I don't know.
You know, that's
know
how it
these
works.
things go.
Yeah.
but this year is this year, and I think overall the Lions have been a better team. I don't think there's any question with that.
definitely.
But I mean, the Chiefs have been terrible.
Their defense is really good, though. It's really fucking good.
I was talking to people about them, and they were just like, well, they were like, oh, I was like, the Chiefs aren't making the Super Bowl. And they're like, you think the Chiefs really can't make the Super Bowl? Like, blah, 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 it's Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, yes, they can make the Super Bowl. They're not making it this year.
If they have to travel, I think the furthest they can get is the AFC Championship game. And if they have to travel to Baltimore to play in the AFC Championship, they're losing by like 20.
I don't see it as a like, I don't think they're all bought in might not be the right word, but it's just the chemistry or the feng shui or whatever.
The
you wanna
chemistry is definitely
yeah,
off.
there's something not right there.
Because
It's Matt Nagy, but it's more than Matt Nagy.
when the Patriots would go through their funk, you wouldn't really see kind of like the erraticness that you've seen on the sidelines from the Chiefs this year. The outbursts.
There's been a lot of moments, especially recently.
There's
too.
definitely been a bit of drama surrounding the Chiefs.
That's what happens when you have the pop icon in there.
Yeah, it definitely has hurt them for sure, I think. But
I mean, you guys don't think that they're going anywhere.
the Chiefs? I think there's a insane possibility that they lose. Well, a very good possibility that they lose this weekend. I know you're high on that, and I think I've changed my tune on that because I think I said the Chiefs would.
You did.
Murder them.
You were saying that the Chiefs were going
and like, to be honest, this game is kind of a coin flip. I mean, they got the best draw out of any of the other teams.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I mean, it's probably between Miami and Houston.
Well, you think they'd rather play?
Dude, Miami's not good either. Miami's banged up.
Well, they would really want to play Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I was gonna say they definitely want to.
Okay,
play Pittsburgh.
yeah,
It's a better
but I
draw
mean-
from Buffalo.
But I mean, in terms of Pittsburgh has nothing to lose going into that game. You never want to play a team that has nothing to
Okay,
lose.
so a team that has real expectation. but,
Miami
like,
has real expectations. And they got so lucky because now Miami has to go into a place that they don't want to play. Forecast says it's going to be the coldest game in NFL history. Miami's not going to love that.
actually.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
Oh,
0
yeah.
degrees with wind chill on Saturday or Sunday, whenever they play. I think
See,
Miami's banged up. Tua's banged up. Achan's been hurt. Bradley Chubb's obviously
It
out.
really
Waddle's
doesn't
been
look great.
hurt.
Waddle's been hurt. Somebody else.
been in and out.
Tyreek's been in and out. Someone else got hurt, I think.
see, I'm not worried about Tyreek Hill having a hard time in the cold weather.
Tyweed.
Did I say that?
I thought you.
Oh,
I don't think you did.
Oh,
But
I'm not worried about Tyreek having that hard of a time in the cold weather because he knows it and he's played in
Yeah.
that stadium a bunch and he's a guy he's a guy that doesn't need extra motivation.
It's
He
a
is
Miami
motivated.
team playing in the cold weather.
But it is a Miami
Yeah.
team
Yeah.
playing in the cold weather
especially Tua.
but I don't think it's exactly the lock that you would think the Chiefs are because they don't have they haven't been near the team on offense that they have in the last few years, which offensive talent like that does help to get you these extra points in these crazy weather games.
Is it just a game
But-
where it stays close the whole time and then the Chiefs win by 3, and then we're all just
Probably.
That's
But that's why I said
how I feel.
That's why I said it was a coin flip. I mean, both of these teams have looked shaky coming down the stretch. I'd say the Chiefs have looked a little bit more shaky.
It's
but
a shake off.
It's a shake off. It's
Saturday night shake.
it's two dogs pissing in the corner looking
Oh
at
my
each
god!
other.
The even worse part is, and my mom's already bitching about it because she's 150 years old.
Yeah,
Why is the game on Peacock? I don't understand.
it is kind of lame, but
It
I
is
mean, they're doing. I think they're doing the thing where they don't have any commercials in the fourth quarter, which I'm a huge fan
I
of.
don't give a
That's pretty good though.
Yeah,
I
but
think
they're still gonna take the same like players need like a break, you know.
Well, yeah, obviously, but they're
What
gonna.
are they
It's
gonna
gonna be the
do?
regular break. They're just gonna fucking. I don't know. Riff. I don't know. They're gonna riff. They're gonna jerk off. I don't know. Chris Collinsworth
Crank
is gonna
one
say
out.
some dumb shit about Patrick Mahomes every 5 seconds. Like, it's literally gonna be like them just hitting the bong in the broadcast booth. But at the same time, I think I like the way that they're kind of moving away because they realize that streaming is and commercials suck. That the draw for TV or the draw away from TV is the commercials. And we've
But-
said it from the beginning that there's too many commercials.
I'm not buying 7 streaming services to watch different NFL games. That's not happening. I'm not buying Amazon Prime and Peacock and Hulu
Dude,
and ESPN
How
Plus.
good is using your mom's Prime
Yeah.
to watch?
No, I mean I think that they would just do one. It would be like NFL Plus or
Yeah,
whatever.
no, if they just had their own thing,
Because
like
they already have that.
yeah,
That isn't $400 a month like the NFL Sunday ticket. Not
mean-
a month, $400 a year, but that's still
It's outrageous.
that's crazy. Baseball costs like $100.
And I
For
do think we're a long
162
way.
games times 32 teams.
Yeah, and I think we're a long way away from having something like that just because of all the money that the TV deals still bring in. But at the same time, it's like you have to realize the success of Red Zone, the success of streaming on Peacock, the success of all of this shit is just going to be blinding to them because they're going to have to move in that direction.
All right,
But nobody's going to have TV in like 15 years.
If I gave you like
Or
the
cable.
the ultimatum of like you could only watch one game I shouldn't say one game, but if I gave you the ultimatum of you can like flip between a couple channels of football or you could watch Red Zone. I feel like you're taking Red Zone every time.
Absolutely.
So you need some sort of like product that's going to keep you engaged, like you said, without commercial. Like the commercial, it's like we've complained about before, kickoff commercial or like touchdown commercial, kickoff commercial. It's like we really need to run 6 minutes of commercials in between them taking an extra point and them getting the ball again.
I don't find myself getting as pissed at the NFL for showing a bunch of commercials rather than the NBA.
I think that's just more to do with the fact that they have 4 timeouts at the end of the game. So like,
right.
Yeah, that's a whole different fucking argument.
But it's still really, yeah. But also like
they could keep it there.
Yeah, like NFL game like starts at 1, it kicks off at 1. NBA says you look on your app,
it starts at 1, and then it's like
and it starts at 7:45.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do hate that. And then when they do the thing where like both games are on TNT and there's an early game and a late game, the early game goes in OT. The late game doesn't start until it's supposed to be 10:30 and it starts
and
at 10:55.
Then they wait for the early game. Yeah.
I don't know.
And
Maybe I don't really notice it as much because I mean, besides the night game, like when it's during the day, when game X on CBS goes to commercial, then I switch to game X on Fox.
I think Red Zone, because you don't have Red Zone, right?
No.
So I think watching Red Zone really spoils it because you spend all day watching commercial-free football, as Scott Hansen puts it. You sweet, sweet prince. I'm going to miss the fuck out of him. And then you spend all day 1 o'clock games, 4:30 games. Then you get to the 8 o'clock game and you have to watch commercials.
Mm-hmm.
How infuriating is
it is.
Because you're like, holy shit, I haven't seen a commercial all day. This
7
sucks.
hours? Like, oh.
Yeah, this sucks.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think Red Zone kind of hurts it in that sense because I spent all day not watching commercials.
My other thing, too, is the NFL has plenty of money. Like, they don't need to, like...
But it's because of all the TV deals, so there's no way that they're going to move away from that. So with all these networks.
And they know with it being the Chiefs and the Dolphins, people will subscribe
to Peacock just for this. Yeah.
But could they make the same amount, if not more, if they took all the rights away from the networks, kept it in-house, made NFL Plus, and had a streaming service with Red Zone?
I'd say no because of...
Maybe within a few years...
I think that's a very...
Not right away.
Yeah, definitely not right away.
I don't think you'd see results right away.
Yeah. But then you'd find more and more people saying, do I really need to watch the NFL? Do I really, like...
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be as much of a background thing for people. Like, I don't know. Like, people have family come over on a Sunday, they're
just throw on football.
Put on football in the background.
Yeah, I guess
it's not as likely for that to happen. Same thing with, like, a Thanksgiving or a holiday game. You have family over, you're just going to put on football in the background.
There's like,
you're actually watching it or not.
There's like probably 65% of the audience that you could put it on like a toilet seat and they'd watch it. But like the other 35% is just casual, don't really care. I'm here for like the Super Bowl and maybe a regular season game here or there. But like they could go with it, they could go without it. So it's like if they're appealing to the 65%, they'll go anywhere, but it's not going to be maybe as nationally recognized as it once was.
Yeah, I do think the main argument against it is you're not really getting any new audience because if you could only watch NFL on
by
like
buying
NFL
it,
Plus, nobody's gonna. Yeah. If you're a fan of football and you want to get like into it, or if you're a young kid getting into it, like you're not gonna go, oh, I'm not gonna spend $40 a month on this service.
Correct.
So I do think the only way that happens is if the first domino falls and people go completely away from cable TV, which I think could definitely happen, but it's not going to happen for a long time.
Yeah, that would take like a demographic switch. Like once our generation gets older, that probably will be the case. But
I'm never going to get cable again.
I go back and forth on it. I don't want cable, but at the same time, you count up all these streaming services, and yes, you got all the stuff on demand, but it's like you could have 4 streaming services and pay the same as you would for cable. So it's like...
Yeah, I mean, I agree and disagree because I do think, like, I don't know, I think, like, cable services are just, I think, too, like, I spent a while dealing with them, like, working at the UPS store, like, we would have to, like, deal with them because we'd have to send DirecTV boxes. Like, dude, so many people were getting rid of cable, and they'd come in and just complain about and tell me their horror story about DirecTV or AT&T.
I'm not DirecTV, just do me the thing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what I would do. But they would tell me horror stories about how AT&T like doesn't give a fuck, and it's true. Like That's why we moved away from it.
You want to know what's crazier? I care even less.
Yeah. I didn't give a fuck, but like they would come in and tell me this, and then eventually I started to think about it. I'm like, damn, everybody's moving away from traditional cable TV because they don't give a fuck about the existing customer. They give a fuck about the new customer.
Yeah.
So then like they just rack up the price on the old customers so that they can give the deals to the new customers, and it's like eventually it's like people are just gonna get pissed off and leave, and then they don't give a fuck. Like they're just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like go ahead, leave. Go bring your box to Nolan at the UPS store and tell him about it.
Tell them how miserable you are.
Yeah. So I think like it definitely we're a long way away from that, but I definitely do think there's gonna be a shift in commercials. I think
we need a shift in scheduling too. Because I don't know about this. I don't know. I don't hate the Monday game, but 3 Saturday and 3 Sunday games feels right. Or like four Sunday and 2 Saturday games feels right. I think it's weird that you play on a Monday and then you have to play it down like you have one less day than everyone else. You know what I'm saying?
I think that yeah.
I don't know if teams really see that as that big a deal.
I mean, they do it all the time, but it's also the playoffs. So like, why are we doing that?
So something I didn't know is I don't know how long ago this was, but Sunday night football didn't actually used to be a thing, and Monday night football was like the big primetime game of the week. And I've heard like some like sports talk guys say Sunday night football has killed Monday night football.
Well, maybe, but like if there was no Sunday night football,
I don't know what I would do.
I think. Well, I was just gonna say, I think Sunday at like 7:30, I'd probably just kill myself. Like, just like, what do you do after those 6 hours of football are up? You contemplate your life and then say, all right, there's still one more game on. I can sit here and still be a piece of shit, but then I have work in the morning. If that game's not on, you're just like, oh, I'm a piece of shit and I have work.
Yeah, it's like
morning.
it's
How
like
good would it be
7:30, and you're like, I have to go to bed now.
Honestly, though, how good would it be if the game started at 7:30?
Yes. Well, yes and no. I kind of like that breather.
It's a good buffer.
Because you know what?
Yeah.
It is a good buffer between like the end of those games.
Yeah.
And, like, it's nice. They like to do their pregame and shit. But also, I mean, it does go back to the commercials. The Sunday night game takes the longest out of all the games because, you know, a 1 o'clock game is almost always done by 4 o'clock.
Yeah, sometimes a Sunday night game is on till like 11:45.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm almost up till midnight, and I
Yeah.
got to get up in 5-6 hours.
The Patriots were notorious for that. They'd always play those long ass games.
Oh,
But
yeah, dude.
I really don't give a fuck about that, to be honest with you. Maybe it's just because I work from home and I like, but like I really don't give a fuck about like.
I work from home, man.
But dude, and like
I mean, you work 5 minutes away from your
in
place.
high
It's-
school, I would stay up for like the entire Sunday night game, no matter what. Like now, I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna go to bed if this isn't.
Yeah.
You're an old man,
But-
though.
Like, the last Sunday night game would be over, and I would have I would have to get up for school at like 5:45 or 6
5
in the
hours
morning.
away.
And I'm like, this is fun, dude. I'm
But
gonna
we're
feel
but
like
we're
a
young though. Like
basket.
I didn't give a fuck. I didn't give a fuck.
Oh
about
yeah,
that.
like most of the time it's just like whatever.
I mean, it's 15 minutes of feeling like shit when you wake up in the morning,
Yeah.
and then like you're fine.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. When you're in high school, okay, Sunday night, you stay up late. You're waking up early. You're tired as shit. You're groggy as shit. Monday night football, you do the same thing.
That's true.
Tuesday night, you do the same thing. You stay up late. You're playing Xbox.
playing video
like,
games,
we're
literally.
being
Yeah,
fucking
but, like-
pieces of shit, and then we wake up and we're groggy again on Wednesday.
I would
Like,
always
we do the
have
same
a
thing.
goal of like going. Like I wouldn't in high school. I don't know. I would try not to be awake past 11 o'clock, or like if I was playing video games or something, like try and be in my bed, like settling down by 11. But then like I wasn't always faithful to that.
I don't know.
I don't think I've gone to bed. I don't
Like,
think I've fallen asleep before 10:30 in like
years.
Oh, if I'm getting
like
up,
15
dude,
years.
if I'm getting up early to go to the gym, like in the morning, like last year when I was
I do that now, and I
last
still go
year
to
when
bed
I
at
was
like
good
12.
about that. Like there was times where like it was like 9:30, and I was like, oh, dude, I'm going to bed.
Yeah, I mean, like, I just
But
feel
that's
I'm not
rare.
tired enough. Like, I'm not tired enough to go to bed that early. Like,
No.
I've tried. I can't do it. I always end up staying up, tossing and turning, and then I fall asleep at like midnight anyway.
No.
So then I'm just like, why am I putting myself through this pain? Why don't I just go to bed at midnight when I'm fucking tired? And it's worked out. So I think like the whole like Sunday night, Monday night football thing, I think I like the Thursday, Saturday, Sunday.
No. I'm saying for the playoff schedule,
Oh.
I don't like Monday night games.
Oh,
No, I
thought you were talking
sorry.
about in general.
I'm sorry. I wasn't clear on that. I'm saying for Monday night. I think
I'm not a big fan either.
I think that's a little strange that you're gonna make the person playing on Monday night then go and play a team that played on Saturday or Sunday with an extra day of rest and preparation.
Oh,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I do get that.
I
though.
never really
do
liked the
agree with you
Monday
there.
night playoff game.
And
That's good.
And
It's just one. Like,
no,
it sucks.
no.
Yeah.
I understand why they do it, and it's obviously something to look forward to. It's like, oh, this little like extra game here.
I know, but I want to see them all.
Yeah.
I want to see them all by Sunday.
Yeah,
You know?
I kind of agree with that. I don't know. I just thought that they've done that the last couple of years,
But
and
they
it's
just
like,
do a wild card weekend, right?
yeah. So
Yeah, because what happens for
it's not the biggest deal in the world.
what happens for the divisional
And still,
round?
I'd rather not.
Like,
Yeah.
what does the divisional round do? Is it Saturday, Sunday?
Saturday. It's just Saturday, Sunday. Because it's
think-
4 games.
Yeah, I get your point there about having like the extra day, because I feel like most teams that play on the Saturday will use Sunday as like a travel day or whatever.
But you got to think that, all right, Monday night at fucking 10 or 11 o'clock, the game that's over. Then you got to, whatever, get all your shit off to
One day turns into two
right,
extra days. Yeah.
Right. So
I think one day really doesn't make that much of a difference. But if
Oh no!
what?
I spilled your water. You broke your water.
But yeah, I definitely do think like what you're saying, like having just one game on Monday night doesn't make any sense.
All right, let me shift the conversation.
It's super okay. Before you move on, it's Super Wild Card Weekend, not Super Wild Card Weekend plus Monday.
Why do they
yeah.
call it super? Because there's 7 teams now.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
they
they
just
started
started doing
doing
it
No,
last
that.
yeah,
They started doing that
since-
last year. Yeah.
Since they added that. So here's the direction I want to lead us to. We can go one by one if we want. I want the biggest loser of the season. It can be a player, it can be a coach, it can be a team. Biggest loser / disappointment of
The New
season.
England Patriots.
You say the Patriots?
The New England Patriots.
Well, yeah.
You could probably say the Giants.
No, I was about to say, like, I don't know if they're the biggest loser this season, but, like, when it comes to disappointment, like, what did the fucking Jaguars do, dude?
Yeah, that's a good
That
answer.
was the biggest choke.
That's
that
a good
was,
answer.
Yeah, that was the biggest choke.
They were 7-2. They were
They were
8-3.
8-3.
They were 8-3. That's nuts. Then they ended 9-8.
They fucking blew it.
And it was
That was
okay.
a winnable game,
you could
too.
say, you could make the argument, and I'm not saying I'm making this argument, but you can make the argument that Trevor Lawrence wasn't 100%. Like you
No,
could make
it's-
that argument.
Yeah, but I mean,
But they
still,
could have won
they-
that game
they
on
could have-
Sunday.
They could have like pulled off. They went 1-4. Their only win in the last like whatever games was against the Panthers. Like you couldn't have pulled out just like one more of those other games. Like they have the team to do it, and they just didn't.
I think it was ever since that Ravens game where they like completely fell flat. They had so many opportunities to score and just didn't go their way.
Also losing that Bengals game. That was a big one too. 'Cause that was a close
killer.
game.
That was a killer.
I mean,
That was a killer,
that game
and
on
then after
Sunday
that,
they
it was
should have
just
won,
done.
dude. They should have won that fucking game.
I'm really racking my brain for who the biggest loser in the NFL is.
I think Bill Belichick.
I wanted
might
to
have
say the
been.
Chargers, but they're actually the biggest winners because they got rid of Staley.
Yeah, they actually did better than they did
Oh.
last year too.
The Jets.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers.
But that's just par for the course. Like you just expect something like that to happen to the Jets.
I'd say Bill Belichick. But that might just be me.
This is easy. I don't know how I didn't think of this in the first place. Arthur fucking Smith is the biggest loser this year. Not playing his star running back for most of the season, playing in the shitty ass 17-14 stupid ass games that they'd always end up losing, and then trying to play fucking, oh, I'm gonna pick the right quarterback this week. This week it's gonna be Heineke, but next week it's gonna be Ritter. But
And he
then
was
this
wrong
week,
every time.
yes, but then this week we're gonna play Heineke for the first half, but Ritter for the second. It's like what the like he thinks he's like a fucking mastermind guru of fucking what like of like the universe. Like you really think that you're gonna be able to say Heineke against this team's gonna play well, But now I'm going to bring in Ritter because I think Ritter has an edge in this game. Like, that's so dumb.
Also, like him bitching at the end of last week, like.
Oh, that's another point. That's a perfect point.
Like, don't get blown out.
That was so fucking funny.
How soft are you?
And also,
So
like, he
soft.
probably knows that he's about to get canned after that, and he's probably pissed because
He was projecting.
maybe that game was like a make or break or something like that. I don't know.
Well, he was
But-
getting fired regardless, but then he wants to sit there and like bitch about that last play. It's like, don't let them get up 41-17 on you. Like,
And apparently,
don't let it get
apparently
to that
Dennis
point.
Allen didn't want to score, but like, dude, like,
Yeah, it wasn't Dennis Allen's call. Like, he must have felt like such a faggot after that. I mean, he must have felt so bad after that.
who, Dennis Allen?
No, Arthur Smith.
Oh, Arthur Smith?
I'd be like so embarrassed if I just shouted at a guy.
But I bet I actually disagree. I bet he goes to his friends and he's like, yeah, you see that? You see the way I handle that shit? Like,
He wants dope
Well, like,
from it.
also,
Yeah.
the thing I found funny was that, like, he went up to Dennis Allen expecting, like, a fight and a yelling match, and he didn't get it. So he just kept yelling.
Yeah.
And Dennis Allen was, like, trying to pat
yeah,
him
Dennis
on
Allen
the
was
chest,
like, my bad. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Dennis,
Like-
I think Dennis Allen was just like, yeah, I know. He like said something like that. He's like, yeah, I
so
know.
here's my next point.
Sucks that the hot mic picked it up.
Yeah, here's my next point though. Aren't they the most talented team in that division?
The Falcons?
Yeah,
Probably. I mean,
maybe the
possibly.
Saints.
I think you could
maybe
argue
the
that
Saints.
the Saints are.
But like,
Tampa's still got some good players.
if no, I
In
agree.
Tampa, yeah.
But if you give that team a competent head coach, like I know Arthur Smith is like decent on offense, but you give them like an actual real NFL head coach,
No, I agree.
they win that division this year.
Who was their coach before? I'm trying to like remember. I'm blanking.
It was Dan Quinn, but then in between it was
It was somebody. Did they have an interim? I was blanking too.
hold on, Falcons head coach. Jesus.
I don't know. There was definitely one between him and Quinn.
Yeah,
I
no,
know
there
that for
definitely
sure.
was.
I would say it's, but honestly, with talent, it's pretty close between those three teams. Tampa is definitely on the older side compared to the other two. But
Who was it?
dude, the Saints really should be much better than they are.
Well,
They really should.
they were disappointing this year too, and Carr played pretty.
Raheem Morris.
Really?
Yeah.
No, you're right.
he
I
went
just
4-7.
yeah, that's surprising to me.
He must have been the interim. No,
Who was before that? Does it say?
Dan Quinn.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Yeah, Dan Quinn was there for a while, so
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, he was there. I guess it doesn't say. how
when
many
was he
years
out? By
was
20?
there.
But
He
yeah,
was there for 6 years.
yeah,
Before that was Mike Smith, and he was there for 7 years.
yeah. Mike Smith.
So
was,
they had like 2 coaches for a while.
Mike Smith was decent. Yeah, no, they need to get someone back in there that's like gonna build something. I feel like they're not a team that like all of a sudden gets good. I feel like the both times that they've been good, they've gone like this.
Well, we
like
did
they've
have
slowly
Yeah,
risen.
we did have 2 coaches. Well, I guess Pete Carroll didn't get fired. I guess it was kind of like a parting of ways. And then obviously Mike Vrabel got fired.
Belichick there, or that's talking.
Belichick could be leaving. Is it weird? Like I'm getting. Robert, we switched seats just because we're lazy, and I was sitting here when Sal showed up, and I didn't want to move. I think it's weird. I'm getting like Tom Brady when Tom Brady left vibes of like, because remember when that Titans game happened and they lost, it still was unsure
Yeah,
if whether or not Tom Brady was leaving.
yeah.
But the whole narrative was that he
It
was
was
leaving.
his last game. Yeah.
The same thing is kind of happening with Bill Belichick. Don't you like I'm like I don't understand the whole like, oh, it's his last game. Like the whole media thing was like, oh, it's his last game. They say, oh, possibly his last game, but like they're like acting like he's gone for sure.
Yeah.
Do we think he's gone for sure?
I think. All right. So if I had to put a percentage on it, I'd say 75% he's not back next year.
Okay.
I'd go 60.
Because I was going to go 62 when he said percentage.
It's a very specific percent, but okay.
I just don't see them.
75.
If
I
he
think
goes to another
60.
team, I don't think he'll have roster control. But
What?
No, you said like 60, like 2, like TOO, but I was like
Yeah.
making like a
62%.
You're making a dad
It was
joke.
it was a
It
it was,
Yeah,
it
60
was
to
a
38.
it was like a ridiculously not funny joke.
That was really
but-
bad.
So if he goes to another team, I don't think he'll have full control over the roster. But I don't see him coming back to New England if they're gonna take that ability away from him.
That's
But
what I was
just
saying.
I think that's just a weird conversation to have with a guy that you're gonna keep. Like, hey, we're taking away your.
Hey, we like you, but we don't really like you like enough to like run the roster.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
Which
I think
most
Robert.
most coaches don't run the roster.
I
but
think they have considered that. I think like isn't him and Robert Kraft supposed to have like some meeting or something to determine it?
well,
I don't understand. I don't. If Bill can't see it that way, I think he's gone.
I was listening to someone too who's like kind of in the know with the Patriots, and he was saying that this is more gonna be like a Jonathan Kraft decision because it's more gonna affect like the entire future of the Patriots. So it's not like Robert Kraft, yes, runs it.
He's old and like dementia.
But
yeah.
it's going to be to a certain point in a couple of years where it's Jonathan Kraft's team and he's making all the decisions. So Jonathan Kraft doesn't have a big say in this as well. It's not.
And
just
I think
Kraft.
he is not a fan of Bill Belichick.
Well, I think he realizes that like a lot of this has not festered, but like, okay, 2016 he wants to get rid of Brady. 2017 he wanted to get rid of Brady. 18, 19, finally 20 or 19 or 20 Brady leaves, right? Okay, now he's got a 3 or 4 year window since Brady has left to show what he can do, and they've gone 9-7.
He's like 34 and 57 or something.
But they've gone like this.
Yeah, they've gone down.
They have not gone. They have not gone up. They have gone down ever since Brady left.
Made the
And
playoffs once.
once, and it was
And got
this,
blown
it was
out.
the second year. But at the same time, it's like you're not getting better. You're not showing improvement, and my roster is getting worse, older, and slower. Why are we? Why is this like? You've had enough time to try to put something together.
I think the COVID year obviously
you can even chalk
washed.
the year after COVID year, but they made the playoffs that year, so it's like
I think that year was when everyone was like, "Oh, they're actually fine."
they figured it out, right?
Yeah, and then last year
Was kind of up and down, but like
was up and down. Matt Patricia kind of took most
Yeah.
of the heat, and now this year
it's like what
Bill's-
happened.
Bill is taking
Yeah.
all of it,
Yeah.
and I think like it's deservedly so because he has made the worst draft decision since 2013.
Yeah.
He hasn't re-signed a first-round draft pick.
I just think both parties would be happier to just say, I don't need to be here anymore. I want a new challenge. I think the Patriots would be better off saying, we need a different style of football. We need a fresh breath, like a fresh speech and presence and like just something different like that. The message has been the same for
Vrabel's
25
available.
years.
I think
Well, okay. So here's the thing with Vrabel. I think Mike Vrabel is a great head coach, and this is
surprised
gonna,
he got fired.
well, I am too.
Well, a lot of did you hear what Ian Rappaport said? He said like a lot of it had to do with the fact that he wouldn't dispel rumors that he was going to be the next Patriots head coach.
So if he's the next Patriots head coach, I am not mad at all. Great hire.
I think
great
he would
head
be a
coach.
really good choice.
Here's my point with it.
But what do they do for GM?
Hold on. I don't want them going back to a mode of remember the good old days. Remember when we had Mike Vrabel and Tom Brady and like all this stuff. I want it to be something new.
I want it to be fresh. I agree with you. I do not want it to be Gerard Mayo. I do not want it to be him at all.
But I don't want like I want like a Lincoln Riley in there. Like I know I've said that on the podcast
And
before.
I think if
I don't need
it's-
it to be exactly him. I just want like a fresh face that has a new message that we're going in a completely different direction. That's what I
There's
want.
a lot of people
Yeah,
that
and I think
Harbaugh is coming to the NFL.
He's not going to the Patriots.
I don't
He's
know.
going
If
to
he,
that
I don't know
either.
if he is going to
I
come
don't.
back.
Apparently,
to the
he
NFL.
doesn't like playing against his brother that much.
Mm.
I don't know. It's like a weird
And I think
thing for him.
I think like
So-
now he sees like the dynasty he could forge with Michigan. I don't know if he would want to leave. It's enticing to come back to the NFL, but I think it's more enticing to stay at Michigan.
I think it's more likely that he won the other night that he would leave now though.
Yeah, no.
That is true.
People are saying like he wants a Super Bowl.
The Bears.
yeah,
I was gonna say the Bears seem like the place.
The Bears would be the place, but they said that they're keeping Eberflus.
Yeah, and Eberflus just cleaned house.
The only other one that I can see is the Chargers. That's the only other one.
So I think here's what
Why would you leave Michigan and go to like Atlanta?
I don't see the Falcons.
here's Mega Brain going in on. So for the
Saints?
Patriots,
Maybe.
and it's a lot like what Robert is saying. Like if Jonathan Kraft, if this is sort of like the changing of the guard between Robert Kraft and Jonathan Kraft,
Robert, you're prettier.
I think
Much prettier.
I think Robert's on the right track. He wants to make a name for himself. This would be the time for the young guy to come in and make a name and say, no, we're changing everything. Because I think that is the way Jonathan Kraft thinks. I don't think, because I think Robert Kraft is a lot like, oh, I'm sticking to the nostalgia.
Correct, because we knew what we were doing, and that's
old
how
people
we've
hate change.
Yeah, exactly.
So then he's going to come in and be like, no, we need to change everything. We need a new, fresh start. And I think that would be good for the organization.
I said this the other day. If the Patriots won 8 or 9 games, but scored 30 points a game and just gave up like 35 points a game, I'd be happy as a fan.
It's the way they were losing.
It's
how dysfunctional
it's the brand
it
of
was.
football. Like every game, tell me you weren't watching 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 14, fucking interception, fumble. It's like, I don't want to watch this.
And it's a lot of like, oh, they have a chance to win and then fuck
Blow
it up
it.
in some crazy way.
Yep.
Or Mac Jones throws an interception, or Bailey Zappi throws an
It
interception.
was just them fumbling over themselves every week.
And it was like they couldn't get out of their own way. And a lot of that has to do with the message in the locker room has gotten so stale that they don't even – it's not even a message anymore. It's not a culture anymore. Like, that's where you start to lose the culture, is when it starts to flip and you start losing the players, because you saw what Trent Brown was saying, basically like trashing the entire organization, saying we need to do better in the draft. We need to sign better players. Like, I think the signing of better players is kind of tough because they did go out and get a lot of really good, talented players. I just don't think they were able to bring it together. I think that was okay. It's the drafting that is trouble, because that's where you build the future. And I think Christian Gonzalez was a good pickup. He got hurt, obviously, but I think he was on track to be – he was probably on track to be Rookie of the Year. When he was in, dude, like I think, what was it, week 3 he got hurt or something?
Well, he locked up Tyreek and he locked up whoever he played week 1.
He was phenomenal, and I think he was probably on track to be Rookie of the Year. But at the same time, they've flipped the culture, and I think it happens to a lot of teams where like it's the reckoning, right? It's like, okay, we've been so good for so long, now it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Now what do we do? And it's so hard to rebuild it because you want so bad to just recreate what they had. You can't recreate a Tom Brady. You have to go out and actually build it. You have to do the groundwork.
It'll be so interesting to see the direction they go. I'm very curious this offseason.
I think the most uninteresting option is to keep Bill.
Yeah.
And I don't see a scenario where they just strip the GM from him, because I can't see a scenario where a GM comes in
and reports to Bill.
And
What
Bill has to report to him, because that's not going to work.
Yeah.
I think it's just you just have to move on. And I think he's seen with Pete Carroll now. He's seen with Nick Saban. He's a part of that. He's a part of that ship now. And it's like, okay, Pete Carroll parts ways with the Seahawks. It looks like it's kind of like a retirement thing, because they want to keep him on as like an advisor role.
You saw Saban.
And Nick Saban retires.
Yeah,
so I think it's like, I don't know. I think he kind of sees it. I think he's seeing the writing on the wall, where his generation is sort of up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, as much as he wants to chase that record, I don't know. Like, okay, he goes to another team and maybe he gives it one more go. Like, maybe he gives like one more go at it. And I think the Chargers would probably be the best option. But does he just leave? Does he just retire? Is he fed up? I don't know.
So
he seemed kind of fired up in that last game.
Do you have a point about this or no?
I was going to say, if they hire a GM for the Patriots and Bill stays, I could also see a scenario where, like, I mean, obviously we don't know what happens behind closed doors, but I could see a scenario where eventually in the season, Bill has an opinion, and he seems like a convincing guy. You know, he's one of the greatest minds in the history of football, to where if there's a dispute between the GM and Bill, I could kind of see the GM just kind of conceding to Bill if he feels
it's a power
strongly
struggle.
enough about something.
It's a power struggle, and then it's like, okay, you can't knock what he's done, and it's like you kind of have to just like respect that, because there's nobody that they're going to bring in that has more football experience than him.
Mm-hmm.
So like, no matter what happens, it's always going to be Bill as the GM. So I don't see him conceding that.
So I focus on the negative. Who's the biggest winner of the NFL season? Not talking obviously like wins and losses, but like who's someone that like I just came into the season with set expectations and far outseeded their expectations.
I mean, people were picking Detroit to win that division. I'd say maybe for the most part before the season, but like I still think they come away as probably one of the biggest winners of the year. I mean,
my answer's gonna surprise you, but go ahead.
I mean, who else? Like the Browns, the Texans. The
Texans is a good
answer. Might
answer
be the Texans
for sure.
for me.
You got an answer or no?
I'll let you go.
Dakota Prescott is the biggest winner of the 2023
You
NFL
think so?
season. I think he proved to a lot of people, and maybe it's people who are going to be like, well, you got to do it in the postseason.
That's what I'm saying.
He's
Better than Romo.
Fair, but here's my point. Their offensive line played pretty much the same as they did last year, and their running game got worse somehow than last year, and he still put up a 4,000-plus yard season with almost 40
And
touchdowns.
they've been banged up on the defense.
They were banged up, and they still won their division. So, like, winning
the NFC East, not winning it last year and then winning it this year, like is
I
crazy.
gotta give him, and I'm not a Dak guy, I really am not, but like the season he put up this year, I was very impressed.
Oh,
with.
it is, especially with how much he got knocked for turning the ball over as much as he did.
He only
last
threw
year.
9 picks. He threw 9 picks
he
this year.
really cleaned that up and still put up some really good stats this year. I saw a crazy Cowboy stat yesterday where 11 of their 12 wins were by over 20 points.
Yep.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's definitely wild.
But
and they've definitely
in the
smoked
playoffs.
teams, but the NFC is weak.
However, he's a better quarterback than Romo was in his era of the Cowboys. I definitely think we can say that.
I think talent-wise, yeah, I think you're right. I think talent-wise...
Because when he came into the league, Dak's first couple of years, he was definitely game manager-ish.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he would not push the ball downfield. He was a guy that would not take the risk and not really make the mistake. And then all of a sudden he turned into this
Robert, I think Lions now being an attractive
Yeah.
franchise, I think is a good point. I think my biggest winner, I think player-wise, I'd have to say probably Christian McCaffrey. Because
Okay.
I think he was somebody that had high expectations and still exceeded them,
That's fair.
which is crazy.
That's fair.
I think that's crazy.
It's also, it kind of feels like, after the Panthers, it feels like he was going into like another stage of his career, maybe the older stage of his
And
career.
a lot of people are
And-
saying, "Oh, he's always hurt," and all
Right.
da. Like it was the injury thing, and he just was like, "All right, I'll
I
stay
thought
healthy."
he was still going to be very productive and definitely still one of the better running backs in the league, but I still didn't see him being
doing what
by
he's been doing.
far and away the
Brock-
best running back at his position.
Robert said Brock Purdy. I kind of agree with that, too. Brock Purdy's a good answer. Just like coming into the season, not like I didn't think Brock Purdy was going to be the starter, but like there was almost like question marks. Like, is it going to be Darnold? Are they going to keep Garoppolo? Like, what's the deal here?
Yeah,
Like,
for sure. And people were unsure about, his talent potential.
I don't think he's like the most talented quarterback, but like,
But
he's,
still, could he continue and even improve on those
Oh,
wins
yeah.
that
Oh,
he
yeah.
got at the end of last year? And he absolutely did that.
And
He's
he,
just
he
a
proved that he could perform in the playoffs.
what's like a good like comp? He's just like a consistent like I don't even know like he's just like a par quarterback. Like he's just gonna give you par after par after par. Like he might not give you the birdie or the fucking like albatross or whatever, but he's not gonna give you a double bogey either.
I will
Like,
say
he
the
never
game-
extends himself. He's always really good at doing what he is best at.
except for the Ravens jam, but
the games
That
where
was his
he
one hiccup.
does get off to a bad start. If he throws a couple picks early, he doesn't really bounce back from that.
he also doesn't expect to throw a couple picks
Right.
early. So
And a lot of it too has to do with the system that he's in.
true.
Like the system that he's in is incredible. Like what Kyle Shanahan has done in that organization is crazy. I'd say organization wise, the biggest winner was definitely the Houston Texans.
100%.
By
You
far.
because you found your quarterback,
You
regardless.
found your
for
coach,
sure.
and your coach. Yep.
and you drafted really well, and now you have young talent to build on.
You got a nice group of receivers. You got some really nice names on defense.
Yeah, and now you have C.J. Stroud. You have the franchise guy. I think it's by far and away. I think he definitely is the quarterback of the future, and we've seen it time and time again where that just doesn't happen.
Remember us talking about the Texans' win total before the season? It was 6.5.
We said they could sneakily get over
yes,
that.
no, me and you both took the over, but you just kept going back. You're like 6.5, man. Like that just seems so high. Like it just seems like ridiculous that their total would be set this high.
But at the same time, it felt like they were gonna
Take a step
win some
forward.
games.
Yeah, yep.
I think D'Amico Ryan has definitely proved that he is.
I like
really good
him.
coach.
I really like him.
And I think C.J. Stroud has proven that he can be a franchise quarterback. Obviously, it's still early. I mean, it's his first year. He got hurt for a few games, but
How,
I mean,
how
he was-
good are we? How good are we?
what?
What's the first game? It's like a perfect segue to the
What the
first game.
Browns in Houston?
That just steers us right towards it.
Yeah,
You want to say? Do you want to say something first?
I don't know. No,
No.
not really.
Okay.
I think so. This game is interesting. I think the whole like I like it funny that like every game has like a scenario, like a
little story,
a little
line.
like side story to
They
it.
all
It's
do.
Like
So
Deshaun Watson coming back.
There's
like,
the Deshaun Watson, connection between these two teams.
if he was playing, it'd be a lot
There's
bigger.
the Green Bay and Dallas, playoff rivalry.
There's Tyreek Hill versus
And
the Chiefs.
there's Tyreek Hill versus the Chiefs.
There's
and
Stafford versus the
course,
Lions.
There's
Yeah.
exactly.
And everyone's talking about Stafford, but what about Jared Goff? Playing
Goff
his
versus the
old
Rams,
team.
yeah.
Like, I feel like everyone's just talking about, Matthew Stafford coming back to Detroit. I'm like, what about Jared
Hey,
Goff
I'm
playing
not
against
brushing
his
over
old
that.
team, his old coach, like who went to the Super Bowl with? Like, Matt Stafford didn't go to the Super Bowl with the Lions.
Yeah.
Jared Goff went to the Super Bowl with the Rams. So I think it's 50-50 there. I think it's and Tyreek Hill coming back to Kansas City.
How
That's
much?
gonna be interesting.
How much when you guys pick playoff games do you factor in like? Well, all right. So like obviously when you pick a game, you just are like thinking who wins the game. Like that's how you normally would pick a game. Like obviously.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you factor into what the game is the following week?
Yeah,
Because that's a big.
Definitely.
That plays a big factor in
and
my
that
mind.
has worked well for me.
Yes.
I don't know about that, Robert. Geno Smith and Brock Purdy are pretty similar.
I get what he's saying. It's like an
like a-
average,
yeah,
like
like
a
a-
run of the mill, like plug and play kind of guy. I guess.
I think Geno Smith is a little bit more unpredictable in the fact that
Yeah.
he can be really faded
He
sometimes.
was not nearly as good
Whereas
as he
Brock
was
Purdy
last
had
year.
one game where he was really faded
Yeah.
out of the whole entire year. I think Geno Smith has had some hiccups.
But Geno Smith could give you like that, like
Yeah.
all-star performance.
Yeah.
So. But back to the playoffs. Like, all right, so like, yeah, you're picking Browns versus Texans, but you're also picking like, all right, if I think the Texans are gonna win, is it really gonna be Texas versus Baltimore next week? Like, do you think that makes sense? Like, that's just kind of how I view it when I pick a playoff.
Yeah,
No,
you,
I do.
yeah, you tend to look more ahead.
Yeah.
I think a lot of what goes into it for me is how they ended the year. What momentum do they have going into this game? Has the Browns' momentum been killed because of last week's game? Which I think is a lot of times when you go back and forth about starting like your starters, obviously with the roster that they have, it is way better to just rest everybody.
Mhm.
Obviously, when you have 45-year-old, 60-year-old Joe Flacco, you definitely don't want him playing in that meaningless-ass game. I think, has their momentum been killed a little bit? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that their team is really good. I think Joe Flacco is going to be fine.
Also, when you're that hot, especially going into the playoffs and that late in the season, I almost think it's kind of good to get like a little loss out of the way.
Yeah, but I mean, if their loss was so meaningless, though.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I also find it funny. We're talking to Robert on this, and he's literally right there.
No, he lives in Boston.
Oh, he's in Boston right now?
Yeah.
That's fucking horseshit. No, he's not.
He doesn't believe it.
No.
I think, but a lot of the flip side of it is like, is this where CJ Stroud kind of like cements his
moment.
story and has a Brock Purdy type moment where he just goes into the playoffs and he's like elite, like, you know what I mean? Because we saw it with Lamar Jackson the opposite way, where
Yeah.
everyone's like, oh, Cambridge,
Oh,
Mass.
fucking fancy.
I think you saw it with Lamar Jackson where everyone was like, oh, he can't win a playoff game. Like, he's not good in the playoffs. He's only good in the regular season. I think CJ Stroud might have to fight that a little bit if and when he loses really badly to the Cleveland Browns.
So you love Cleveland, is what I'm hearing.
I think I don't know. I do like Houston playing at home. I think that was huge. Like, them somehow sneaking to win that division is crazy. The Jaguars losing was insane. The Jaguars losing had the biggest impact out of any of the games, obviously, because it allowed the Steelers to get in and it allowed the Texans to win that division. But I don't know. I don't know if the moment's too big. And Joe Flacco's just been in this moment before. The offense, I think the Browns' offense is going to be fine. Will that defense get to C.J. Stroud is the question. And if it does, it's going to be a long night or day. I don't know when they play.
Go ahead,
I think they're
Anton.
the
I don't
first
know what
game.
and the whole Browns and Ravens thing is kind of
It's enticing.
It's attractive, but I just got a feeling about the Texans this weekend. I don't know. I think that's what
I'm in the same
with.
sort of boat, dude. Like,
So here's where I'm at.
you never know.
Everyone and their mother, and I had been saying this for a month before, is now saying Joe Flacco versus the Ravens. Joe Flacco versus the Ravens. Joe Flacco versus the Ravens. That would be a great storyline. That would be a great little thing.
Flacco could come out and play like absolute horseshit.
Antonio, you know what the next words out of my mouth are?
He did a couple weeks ago.
Imagine you're betting on I want you to picture this. Imagine you're betting on the Cleveland Browns, and it's 10 or 14-0 Houston in the first
and Flacco
quarter.
has 2 picks.
He doesn't even need to have 2 picks. Imagine 2 bad drives, and it's 14-0 Houston. You don't think your Browns bet has a prayer.
True.
You do not think your Browns bet has a prayer. If Stroud's down 14-0, you're like, let's put a drive together. Let's get 7 on the board. We can cut this lead in half. Whereas Flacco's down 14-0. What is he gonna do? He's gonna be a statue in the pocket. Like it's gonna be like it's gonna be a free for all against him. I think in this game it is so silly to be taking Joe Flacco as almost a 3-point favorite on the road. I think that's horrendously bad.
Here's I'm going back and forth literally as we're talking about it, but like the other thing too is what gets to me sometimes is when I see teams, and you saw it on Sunday when the Texans won, CJ Stroud's like crying, like they're acting like it's their Super Bowl, right? Mm-hmm. Is that where they just peaked and they're just not going to have that extra oomph to get this done?
But they're also, like you just said, a young team that's not going to like let the moment. They're just going to go out and play. They're not going to.
You're right. They don't have anything to lose. I think if they lose this game, it doesn't really matter.
They don't even belong here. They're just going to be like, and like that's going to be like a whole fun storyline next week if they're still in. The young rookie, the young gun, the gunslinger, the up-and-comer versus Lamar Jackson, blah, blah. Like, I can see that so easily. Whereas, like, Joe Flacco versus the Ravens is cool, but it's Joe fucking Flacco.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, we're talking about Lamar Jackson, obviously, like, I'd say he's still on the young side. You know, CJ Stroud is, like, a future guy for the league, but Lamar Jackson's going to be around for a while. But they could meet again down the road. Here's where it starts.
Do you not see how crazy it is that, like, they're favoring this quarterback on the road in a playoff game?
Oh, I know.
That Energy Stadium's going to be rocking, too.
And
they have a good fan base.
It's not like how it used to be where, like, they would show up for these playoff games and it's like, yeah, it would be Watson before, but it would be like TJ Yates or, like, whoever the fuck.
Brian Hoyer started a playoff game
Brock
against the
Osweiler.
Chiefs, and he was fucking awful.
Where they show up and they're like, all right, we definitely have no chance. Like that's what they like used to. But now it's like,
remember that Chiefs game that Brian Hoyer started where the Chiefs it was the first kickoff of the game at NRG. They returned it for the touchdown.
And he threw
and 30-0.
He threw 5 picks or something.
Yeah. And then went back to the Patriots.
So I'm just saying my pick is the Texans, and I can easily see the Texans smoking the Browns this weekend.
I think my pick is going to be the Browns.
Because I gave that launch soliloquy about the Texans.
No, I've because I'm like half listening to you and like thinking like in my head like, okay, what's like the scenario here? Because I do think the Ravens and Browns scenario is very interesting, but there also is a scenario where they don't play the Ravens in the second round.
No, I know.
Like Miami could win and then go play the Ravens.
Yeah.
Like
That's true.
It's not like it's set in stone that if the Browns win, they have to play the Ravens.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Obviously, that would be that would be the best option. This line, like everything is just like, man, the Browns might just like smoke them. They might just win 30-14.
It could happen. I just think you're buying the Browns at the top. Like this.
That's true.
This
That's
is
true.
like
and they could absolutely terrorize Stroud and make him look like their defense is that.
And that's kind of the feeling I have is like they just kind of terrorize Stroud and he just kind of folds early in the game and can never get it back. Because a lot of the times too, like I don't understand this Browns team.
Trevor? Like,
I've never understood this Browns team. This entire year, I've never fucking understood because everyone's like, oh, well, their defense is just so good. They're scoring like 30 points a game.
Yeah.
They're scoring so many points a game. Like, how does this make sense?
Since Flacco came in.
Since Flacco came in and Amari Cooper all of a sudden was the best wide receiver of all time. And they don't have Nick Chubb. What is happening, dude? It's literally just him and Amari Cooper.
I don't know.
You cover Amari Cooper, the Texans are winning this game.
He did have 600 yards the last time they played him. Played this team, so
that's ridiculous. Like this doesn't make sense. This team does not make sense. So I'm just gonna ride with it. They're going on some magical run, and it's just gonna happen. They're just gonna play. They might beat the Ravens.
So you can't. Okay, so you can't say I always take the Browns. That's like
No, I
Misnomer.
won't.
Okay.
That's just banter.
Okay.
You do always take the Browns, though.
Not this time.
That's why you're getting defensive about it, because you know you always do.
I gotta bring it up.
That's why you thought about
We
it.
gotta put it on the record. That's
You immediately
why.
thought about it.
Fuck you.
Just imagine if the Broncos were in the playoffs. Holy shit, what would this guy be fucking doing?
It would be Broncos Super Bowl.
Broncos Packers.
I can't wait for that game.
Oh, neither can I.
I really hope that we get some like really good game out of this, though.
I think
And
we're gonna get
obviously,
some really good games.
If the Texans win,
This first game of the playoffs is never a good game.
I know it's always sucks.
That was the first. The Chiefs and Texans one was the first one that year. I
It's
do
always-
remember
it's
that.
No, the Texans always play this early Saturday game. Like it's almost always them.
It's
Yeah,
because
so I
most
don't
people
know.
don't give a fuck about.
They're gonna be fighting their
Most people don't give a
demons.
shit about the Browns either.
I don't know. I'm just gonna go with my gut, and my gut is telling me that the Browns win 30-14.
I have Texans 27, Browns 10.
You guys want to go to check after this?
Maybe.
My mom's making steak, I think.
Oh, jeez.
I've been eating good lately, dude. I can't do it.
I would like maybe go, but I shouldn't. I would maybe go. So
I
you're
gotta lose 40 pounds by like August.
No.
So I'm on the way.
just throw up every day.
I just become bulimic. I become a Victoria's Secret model.
Your pick is the Texans.
Yeah, it's Texans.
All right. Miami traveling to Kansas City. Miami is +4. At least the last time.
Do
I
you have
checked.
thines lines memorized, or do you have your phone?
I know the lines. Trust me.
That's nuts. He's not even reading it off his phone.
I could tell. Ask me any of the 4 games that are left.
Dude, honest, it just
The
depends.
Bills
Like,
and
if he has downtime at work, I get it because
did you have a not busy day today?
when
You were on your phone a lot. You were
Yeah,
looking. You were cooking up parlays.
listen, when
He's
we were
cooking up parlays, dude.
I get it because especially when
On
we were
Wednesday.
in school, like I would finish schoolwork, and like sometimes I would just, even though I'd look at it like I had already seen it, I would just stare like at and the NFL games.
Well, also there was a lot of chatter about who liked who in the group chat, so I needed to.
Oh, yeah.
I knew I was
don't know. I
coming here
wasn't really.
too.
Oh,
I
in your
wasn't
guys' group
too
chat?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wasn't too involved.
I
in
also
that
was
today.
trying to get a feel for who I liked because I didn't really know who I liked until this afternoon. So
You're gonna say that, but you're gonna change by the time Saturday rolls
sometimes
around.
I do, sometimes I don't. It
Oh,
kinda
also
just-
I didn't want to really talk about it because Mike.
Well, you are kind of like in the Chiefs camp. I feel like. Or no?
Oh, you think I'm betting on the Chiefs?
I don't know about betting, but I think you're Dolphins +4 at the Chiefs. Antonio, who is your pick?
My pick is the Dolphins to cover, but Chiefs to win. So it's a little complicated. I'm probably gonna have a Chiefs money line bet in a parlay this weekend.
Got it.
I struggle with this one because if they are the new Patriots, you just cannot bet against greatness,
Mm-hmm.
and it's tough, especially with a Miami team that's banged up. They've kind of just sputtered into the playoffs. I don't think they're as good as people make them out to be.
If they were healthy, maybe.
But even if they were healthy, man, I just don't fucking see it. If they're not in Miami, they're just a very average team.
The circumstances really aren't working out well for them right now.
And then it's gonna be really fucking
the
cold.
cold weather.
Because I don't know. I just like.
But
Does Tyreek Hill go off? I don't
He
really
could.
see it. I don't see it. When I'm imagining how this game's gonna go, I really don't see it. I think this is like probably the most boring game of the weekend.
Sal said, and he's been saying this since like week 10 when we've been talking about Miami and Chiefs playing in Kansas City. He's said, I love Miami and Kansas City.
Well, yeah, he obviously
But
has to stick to his guns.
It's a little different when it's going to be 0 degrees.
So 0 degree temperature is different, and that does change it.
And obviously,
slightly.
take that with a grain of salt. It is still Wednesday, and this game's on Saturday. Like,
I mean, I'm going to like the Dolphins on Saturday. That won't change. But
I still like their spread.
So, in my mind,
how does this game go? Walk me through it.
Okay, I'm going to say a couple things. Patrick Mahomes is going to lose a game before the AFC Championship game. So it's either going to be this game or the game he plays next week, in my opinion. I don't think
I feel similar. Yeah.
I don't think
I
he
feel
just
similar.
makes the AFC Championship game every fucking season of his whole entire career. Point number
The
two.
Pats did.
Point number two. If the Dolphins win, I think they win by a comfortable margin because I think if it's close, Kansas City's just going to get all of the bullshit calls.
It's gonna
all
have
of
to
the
be
bullshit.
a collapse.
Yes.
Yeah,
So I think the Dolphins need to win by like 7+ in order to win this game.
I agree.
So
Oh my god, the calls are gonna be insane.
So
if Kansas City goes down.
so saying that, if Miami wins this game, the first 18 to 24 minutes, the first quarter and a half to first half, is the most important part of the game for Miami. If they start out slow, they're not going to look good. So, if I was betting Miami, I'd be betting Miami first half and Miami game and Miami minus 6.5. I know that sounds like...
That sounds crazy.
That sounds insane.
But it's
But,
just
I
on
mean,
brand.
with the way the Chiefs have looked sometimes this year, like I can still somewhat see it in my head, like Patrick just having a bad game, throwing for like 180 and 2 picks, and then he's sitting there on the sideline, and the
Chucking
commentators
his
are going
helmet,
like,
yelling at
"This
the refs.
is just not the year for the Chiefs."
I agree with that completely, and I think it has to be one of those games where it's just Kansas City is out of sync the entire game, where it's like they cannot get anything going. And I don't think maybe necessarily Miami has to score like 35 points.
No, I don't think so either.
But if they can get to 24, 28, somewhere in that margin, I think they got
I think
it.
KC's defense is still going to be able to make some plays, but I mean, still what you're saying, Miami can win while with that happening if the Chiefs just have one of those days on offense where they can't do a thing.
So I got 28-17 Miami is my pick.
See, I like where you went with the whole they're losing before the AFC Championship game, because that's kind of where I was heading, but I don't think it's this game.
It might not
because
be.
if Cleveland wins and Kansas City wins, and then obviously probably Buffalo beats the shit out of Pittsburgh,
Then it's Kansas
then
City,
it's
Buffalo.
Kansas City, Buffalo.
So, but like, is that not just screaming? Like, is that not just like the most fucking obvious? But that's
how
been
insane would that be? We get Cleveland and Ravens, and then Kansas City, Buffalo.
so like that's what it should be. But then like that seems too obvious in my mind. But the public has won all year, and it's been like the obvious picks that have won all year.
And also, like, we've been saying this kind of the past, like, 5-6 weeks, too. Like, what if it just ends up being Kansas City meets Buffalo again?
Yeah.
I think
It's
it
looking
definitely
like
happens
it.
again, and I think Buffalo gets their revenge.
I'm not trying to be quorky saying that I like Miami in this game.
I don't know. I don't
I
think
do.
you are.
Because you've said that for weeks,
Yes.
so you're definitely not being quirky.
I've liked this spot for this team. I think it's just one of those where it's like Tyreek comes back home. Maybe he doesn't have like a blow up game, but he could have 100 and a touchdown or something. Like, I don't think they look fucking spectacular and like, oh my god, they put up 40 points. But I think they take care of the Chiefs, and I think it's by more than 10 points. So I got 28-17 Dolphins, and I think, like I said, I think if they're not winning at the end of the first half, and it's like Chiefs by 3 or 7, I don't think they win the game.
If the Chiefs lose this weekend, they're locked to win the Super Bowl next year.
Well, just they'll do something crazy,
Interesting.
like sign Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I don't know, something like that.
I think
Like, they'll just get fucking pissed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Kansas City, and I think like
Minus the points.
minus the points,
Okay.
and I think the whole narrative about them has been like such a, I don't know, it's been such a weird vibe with them, and I think like coming out of this game, they're gonna be like, see, we told you they're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of those things, like, oh, Patrick Mahomes is
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes again. I think that might be this game, and then they lose to Buffalo, so that's what I'm gonna stick with. I think it's 21-14 Kansas City.
Now, in comparison, when we compare the whole Chiefs and Patriots thing, like there were plenty of years where the Patriots, like going into the playoffs, and everybody was trying to find the reason to pick against the Patriots. I don't think during that Patriots dynasty they ever looked as, and I don't want to say like
2006, the year before they got Moss, they looked this bad.
okay.
And they were like, they weren't a borderline playoff team, but they won their division. I'm pretty sure they got smoked their first postseason game. So, and their best receiver that year was like Jabbar Gaffney
Yeah, and then they signed Wes Welker and Randy
and
Moss.
Randy Moss. So,
And they looked really bad that last year when Brady was there.
but
Well,
you're
right, they
saying
still went 12-4. They just
That's
you're
true.
saying to the
I think
extent of
people were
like
just-
consistently throughout the season they were not a good team, and
Right.
that was that 2006 team where they were very underwhelming the whole entire year. So, but I get your point.
or we could tell Kansas City's problems pretty early in the season, like after week 4.
Yeah, it was like,
People were like,
Kadarius
what's
Toney.
going on?
Kadarius Toney dropping all those passes was insane, and then it's just like you could just tell like there's just something wrong with Travis Kelce. I don't know.
Dead ass though. After Tony makes like 2 of those mistakes, how do you keep letting him on the field?
I have no idea. That offsides one was
Faded.
He was a
really
10th,
faded.
He was a 10th overall pick.
Wow, that offsides literally got the Bills in the playoffs.
Yeah, because the Chiefs were gonna win that game. They scored on that play.
Wow, dude, this shit's crazy.
Yeah, and I think we're set up for a rematch.
Speaking of the
All right,
Bills,
yeah. Do you want to move on since we brought him up?
Bills -10 at home against the Steelers.
Now you were saying like one of you said after the Bills beat the shit out of the Steelers, and I know TJ Watt's out, but the Bills they just
Play down in
don't
the-
shit on teams.
Well, the Steelers also play up to their competition.
That's
too.
what I mean. That's exactly what I'm thinking. But maybe with that logic, this is the week that the Bills do it.
Antonio,
But
it just seems like an ass kicking.
I think the Bills beat the fuck out of them.
In my mind, it's just an ass kicking.
The Bills have been playing way too good. I mean, what they've won 5 in a row.
Like they're really gonna make this a close game.
okay, so this is I've heard rumors about like Mike Tomlin taking a break from coaching after this year.
I've not heard that.
Oh, I heard that today on a couple of shows. Maybe the Bills just beat the shit out of him, and Mike after the game,
It's like
or
I'm good.
like that week is like, yeah, I'm gonna step away for a little bit.
And
This
how
isn't a goodbye
ridiculous
from
was
football,
it?
but I might go on TV for a little
How
bit. I don't know.
ridiculous was it that everyone was calling for him to get fired after he lost to the Patriots?
I mean, just
And he went and did the exact same thing that he's been doing
every year.
every year. Like, everyone was like calling for his head. I was like, how is this any different?
No, if I was him, I'd step down and I'd be like, sure, go ahead, hire someone else.
Yeah, and then they go like 3 fucking
Yeah,
13
and
next
then
year.
I'd be like, yeah,
3 and
good,
14.
good call, guys.
Yeah, I think that. Well, if he does do that, I think I'd be disappointed because I really do like him in the league. I think he's a really good head coach. But at the same time, it's probably gotten to him this year. Like, they've just been kind of like just offensively, they just have not been able to figure it out these past few years.
They've been better the last couple weeks, but I don't know. Buffalo's banged up too, but this is just not the week Buffalo loses. And once they get rolling, they're just going to be rolling.
And 10 is just an insane spread for this, so it's got to be them telling you something.
So you like the Steelers?
I'm still gonna pick the Steelers to cover.
Okay. I got the Bills with Nolan.
Okay, where to next? Move on to the NFC?
What is it? Dallas next?
Yeah.
Dallas.
Is that where you want to go?
Yeah, that's fine. Dallas at home against the Green Bay Packers.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas is a 7.5-point favorite at home. Antonio, why are the Packers winning this game?
I mean, listen, Jordan Love continued the bear killing. He's going to continue the cowboy killing. But, I mean, he's still...
At least I'm consistent. At least, like, the Bears lost week 1, and I was like, oh, the Bears are going to, like, win and be really good. And then week 18, I was like, oh, the Bears are going to win and break the streak against the Packers. And then neither of those happened. It's like, all right, I'm consistently bad.
Jordan Love has been very good.
So
It's been great.
He finished he great stats at the end of the year. I think he had 5 rushing touchdowns. He threw 30 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I don't know if he reached 4,000 yards. I think he did, actually. He did reach 4,000 yards, and he only threw 11 picks. But a lot of those touchdowns he would get when he would throw 3 or 4 in a game, because in the other games he was not having good games. So I don't know what Jordan Love you get on Sunday. Either not that he like is really turning the ball over a lot, just like he just isn't hitting throws in the games that he doesn't play.
I think a lot of their success recently can be attributed to, like, I don't know what happened, but their running game has been a lot better.
Yes,
Aaron Jones has been sneaky
right
good
when
these
the
past few
fantasy
weeks.
season ended, where I had Aaron Jones on my team. Aaron Jones has led the league in rushing for the last 3 weeks.
Of course.
Yeah, I think like that has been a lot. It's taken a lot of pressure off of Jordan Love, and he's looked really sharp. Do they continue that against this Dallas team?
That's where you can get Dallas, though.
That is true.
Run.
They're weak against the run.
Green Bay hits on all cylinders when they have their Aaron Jones little thing going.
This is a Cowboys whooping Sunday. Whooping.
What is it? 7.5?
Yeah, they kill this team by 21.
I think the CeeDee Lamb and Dak matchup has been insane this year. I mean, CeeDee Lamb has been number one wide receiver.
Like, the Packers have good matchups against the Cowboys, but I'm just of the mindset that, like, Dallas at home this year is just unstoppable.
It's true.
I can't see this campaign ending in such a disappointment like they have in the past.
This is not the end of the road for the Cowboys. I don't think this is
it's
where
either
it
the
ends.
divisional round or the NFC Championship game. Could they make a Super Bowl outside shot? Yes, I think.
I
they
think if there's
could.
any year they're going to do it, it's this year because it's in Las Vegas, and the Dallas Cowboys in Las Vegas just sounds perfect.
Did
How insane is that weekend going to be in Vegas?
It's my fucking birthday. My birthday is the Super Bowl.
It is later this year.
I should just send it Saturday, Sunday. Just be like, fuck it, I'm pulling up.
Did the
Why not?
I'm going to be, I just realized I think I'm going to be in Toronto for the Super Bowl.
Oh, Canada.
Oh, that's
Yeah. That's kind of nuts.
For what?
I'm going to, me and Jeremy are just road tripping up there.
Ooh.
That's pretty cool.
Right? Because
Toronto's awesome.
is it the 10th?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be in Toronto that day.
Wow, thanks, buddy.
Or no, I think.
Sunday's the 10th.
Oh.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna Hall of Fame?
Should get maple syrup.
No, I think we're just gonna. I might try to go to the Hall of Fame. That's a good idea.
Have you been there?
No.
Oh,
I've never been to Toronto. I've never been to Canada.
Okay, please.
You go there?
That's the best Hall of Fame I've been to. Out of
Really?
baseball and basketball.
I've only been to the.
That's the coolest.
I've only been to
one.
the Basketball Hall of Fame.
That's
Well,
what-
sports.
You will
sports
not
related.
regret it. It's so cool. I don't know where the fuck I was. Oh,
Green Bay and Dallas.
the
The Super Bowl
has
being
Green
on
Bay
Sal's
and
birthday.
Dallas played in the playoffs since Mike McCarthy's gone to the Cowboys?
No.
Mike McCarthy revenge game. He has been better as of late. Like this year, he definitely was a lot better. And I don't know if it's.
What if Mike McCarthy starts doing this on the sideline?
He's just got fat
That'd be
people orbiting
insane.
him.
Dude.
That shit was. That shit down, man.
I think Dan Quinn has had a lot to do with
Oh, yeah.
the
Team,
success of
yeah.
the team. There's been a lot of chatter, especially today, about him possibly getting a head coaching job somewhere. Imagine he goes back to the Falcons.
Maybe it's
Good.
time.
I think I think I just read something that like the Titans wanted to interview him.
I could see him. I could so see him being
Being
a
the
Titans
Titans
coach.
coach, yeah.
There was another. I think he was going to interview for the Chargers as well, but I don't know. I just think it's like
I don't think the Chargers bring in another defensive guy.
No, they're
No.
gonna go offense.
Yeah,
I just think Cowboys at home. They haven't lost a game all year. They're not losing this game at home. They're set up to play either a rematch against Detroit or maybe Philly somehow, or like something along those lines. Like if the Rams win, I don't know. I just see a way more likely scenario where if the Cowboys are winning, they're probably just gonna beat this team by 7 points.
So if the
I just don't
Packers-
see them fucking this one up.
If the Packers win, Mike McCarthy is gone.
has to be.
Somebody's
Like, do you
gone,
do
dude.
anything with Dak?
They won't fire him.
No.
They won't fire him, though. I promise you, if they lose this game, they won't fire him. They won't do it. But no, you don't do anything with Dak either. Dak
Who gets the
stays.
brunt of the blame if this game goes awry?
If it's like 35-33 or something, then
I don't
like
know.
Mike McCarthy or Dan
If-
Quinn. If it's like 14-10, then it's all on Dak.
If
That's
it's
what's gonna
a
happen.
close game, like even if it's in the 20s and it's a close game, and the Packers win, it might just be after this game like Cowboys are cursed and we can't do anything about it, and this is the best we got.
But like that's also why I don't want to take Cowboys minus 7.5, because it's like when they do lose on Sunday, you're gonna be like, well, of course they fucking lost. Like, so
We're gonna be here next week being like, okay, so I know we said that this isn't where they fuck it up, but they fucked it up.
and why?
I don't think that happens this week, though. I really don't, and I'm gonna pick Dallas. I don't know if I said it officially yet
You
or
got the
not, but
spread? You
Huh?
got the spread?
7.5.
I think the 7. I think they cover that 7.5.
So me and Nolan again on one side and Antonio on another.
I just
side.
feel like in terms
So
in
the
terms
first
of these
two
teams,
games
they
on
just kick
Sunday
the
are
shit out of them.
blowouts.
yes.
Yeah, I think that definitely could happen. But I also see a scenario though where this could be the game of the weekend.
Mm.
Especially if the Saturday games are meh. This is the game of the weekend.
Well, no. Then these two games are meh. Then we really have. If like the first 4 games are meh, you put your home on the over in this Lions Rams jam.
Okay.
Like
So let's move on to that game.
So Lions Rams.
Yeah.
Rams plus 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
Over under should be a gazillion, but I think it's like 51 right now.
51.5.
51.5. So I'm just saying, if the first 4 games are kind of boring and low scoring, I'm putting a lot on the over in that.
Four and
game.
low scoring.
So I've gone a little back and forth on this game. I really want to sit here and take the Rams, and I'm not doing it. I'm taking the Lions.
That's what I was about to say. Almost the exact same thing, and it almost feels like the smart pick is to even pick the Rams because they are healthier, and we don't know if Laporta's going to play. But
It's probably not.
dude, I just don't.
That was really
after
dumb that they played
everything-
him.
After everything this year, I can't see the Lions going out in the first round of the playoffs. There's just Because that would be
they
same
seem
old
to
Lions,
be,
and this is not same
No.
old Lions. I really don't think it is.
they seem to be the team that everyone's picking to like have a first round exit, which is
The consensus is the Rams win this game.
Yes.
which I think is why I love the Lions so much in this game because, well, I mean I love the Lions. It wouldn't have mattered who was on who in this game. The Lions, Detroit versus everybody. I fucking love it.
If the Lions lose this game, or if the Lions win this game, you might see Dan Campbell cry at the
Yeah.
And the thing is, too, it's like, when has there ever been a team that's like actually good and in contention for a Super Bowl that is still an underdog?
Probably since that Philly team.
And like if they lose this game, it doesn't matter. Like it matters a little bit, but in terms of like grand scheme of things,
if
I think
they
they've
lose
already
this game
seen
and
this.
Goff has a bad game, it matters.
I think this is the best team that they could have played where the expectations aren't high on the Lions. Like if they played the Packers or if they played who's the other wild card team in the NFC?
the Bucks.
Oh, the Eagles.
Well, yeah, the Eagles.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they played the Eagles, I think a lot of people would just pick the Eagles.
Okay, so I guess my point's kind of muted, but my point was if they played like the Packers.
I don't know though because I feel like the Eagles aren't getting much praise right now either.
If they played the Packers or the Eagles instead, I think people are more likely to say the Lions should win this game.
I think
we
you're correct.
expect the Lions to win this game. This is a game that they should be. Whereas now it's like Matt Stafford homecoming. The Rams have looked really good recently. They're going to keep it rolling. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and a lot of the story has been Matt Stafford homecoming and not on the Lions.
Yep.
I think, yeah, you're very correct.
Going
on
in
that.
it like for each individual team going into their playoff games this weekend, I can't imagine any other team being more fired up
Than
than the Lions this weekend.
Yeah,
And,
and
they
I
probably
do
have the most fired up fan base right now. That place
and
is
not
gonna
only
be
and
insane.
not only when was their last playoff game? When was their last home playoff game? Because I know one of their last playoff games was against the Saints, but they were at the Saints. So it's probably been 20 or 25 years.
I thought they said it was 30 years.
Yeah, since they have a home playoff
Yeah.
game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet so. I bet that.
I think it's
yeah.
been like 30 something years.
So, like, what are the fans going to be like Sunday night? They're going to be
insane.
Yeah. Not easy.
That's going to be like
Lions.
a 2-day tailgate for them.
Yeah.
They're tailgating right now.
Yeah.
It's true.
People have a 4-day weekend for the Lions on Sunday.
They took the whole week
I was
off,
going to say
dude.
there's probably people taking an entire week off of work.
If I was like 45 right now and I had just never seen the Lions win anything, and like I would probably be so excited. Like say you have season tickets to the Lions,
That's
you haven't
why
seen them won. Like,
I don't. I'm gonna sound
That's
like
why sports is so awesome.
I was gonna
I'm
say,
so excited for this game.
I sound like such a spoiled brat, but like if the Patriots didn't win at the beginning and like it was like one of those things where like you got teased and they lost, you got teased and then they lost, and then like we got like really old, like that would be cool. Like that would be like you grew up watching them and then they finally overcame it.
But that's why I think it's coming now. Like we're like
Oh,
from now
we're-
until
we're-
we're 40.
We're in a terrible.
And then we're
wave.
gonna be 50, and the Patriots are gonna be good,
Yeah.
and they're gonna be like the Lions. And
We're
like,
gonna be
remember
like, yeah.
last time they had a home playoff game was with Tom Brady, and then we're gonna be like tailgating outside of Foxborough for like 4 days.
I hate where that stadium is. I think it's such a gay place.
I think that they built it up nice though.
Foxborough?
I think
Like the-
before it was shitty, but now that they have that
no,
whole
like leaving Fox, like
what?
like no, like you're leaving there. And it's like a one-way road. Like the air. I'm saying
it's
like
a two-lane
I'm
highway.
not saying like the.
I mean, dude, getting into MetLife is also fucking terrible.
I've
like,
never
it's-
been there, so
dude, it's
Yeah, MetLife is
a
terrible.
New York City area. It's right outside of New York City, in New Jersey, off the Turnpike. But it's one fucking road to get into off of the New Jersey Turnpike.
yeah, that's ridiculous.
Where
which is one of the
MetLife
most
is just looks
notorious parking
so.
lots.
It looks so misplaced. It's like in the middle of like a swamp.
It is. It's
Like
in the
you
middle
see
of
it
the
off the
marsh.
highway. It like you're like, wait, that's where it is. Like
There's
it
this,
doesn't make
like-
any sense.
There's
That's
like this
crazy.
big indoor amusement park next to it now. I don't know if people go to it.
But
There's-
that's right
there's like
off
an
the
indoor
highway.
Skiing thing. Yeah, it's right off the highway. But the first time I went to MetLife, that like place was being like under construction. You can when you're driving on the Turnpike, you can see it, and it's just nothingness. of
It's nothing
marsh,
around it.
and then just this big gray thing.
It
When
looks
you're
like someone
driving-
just plopped it in
when
the
you're
middle.
driving near it, do you like play the Sopranos theme song like while you're in the car? Like, is that what happens?
He definitely does.
I mean, I only watched The Sopranos for the first time last year, so I don't know.
Oh.
I didn't this year when we were on our way in there. But we did stop at the James Gandolfini rest stop
Is it like
on the Garden State Parkway on the way
is
back.
it like quadruple XL toilets in there? Or?
No, but they They name all their rest stops in the Garden State after like.
Oh,
famous New Jersey
hey.
people. There's a John Bon Jovi rest stop I don't go to because fuck Bon Jovi.
You can't get in there
There's
unless you're wearing a wife beater.
There's a Springsteen rest stop. There's like a Thomas Jefferson rest stop.
Oh, that's cool.
It's cool.
Wow.
It's a nice.
Jersey's a weird place.
But when
New
I
Jersey's
saw-
a strange place.
But when I saw the one named after Gandolfini this year, I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude! That's awesome."
There's just like a ice cream sundae on every toilet, and then they just replace it each time you go to the.
Back to what we were talking about. The Lions.
They're winning.
New Jersey's underrated.
They're winning. I do like how the spotlight isn't on them directly, and a lot of people are picking the Rams. I think that just bodes so well for the Lions in this sort of situation.
This also seems like a coaching mismatch, but I don't really want to say that.
I know.
Yeah, it is. Well, obviously, in terms of experience, obviously, Sean McVay's had way more playoff experience, and I do. Here's my
I do have a lot
problem with
more
Dan
confidence
Campbell
in
is
the game.
Dan Campbell can sometimes he goes overboard a little bit.
But that's who they are.
That is who, and it sucks because it's like, okay, that's who he is. That's what he likes to do. But when he's wrong, it's so bad.
It looks so bad, yeah.
It's so bad. And when he's right, it looks really good. But how often are
He's
you
almost like a gambling addict. Like it's like
He is,
no,
dude.
It's like 4th and 6 on like his own 40, and he's like, "Fuck it, we're going for it." And then everyone on the team is like,
And they show him on the sideline. He's not even blinking. He's like,
"No, there's not like you know how like when it's 4th down and they'll have the conversation, like the coach will look over and he'll be like,
they may take a
yeah,
timeout.
or there's some sort of like hand motion. They'll pan at Campbell, and there's like 35 seconds on the play clock, and it's 4th down, and he's just like.
They're going like no huddle. Like they just planned it to be 4th and 6 on their own 30. They're like, yeah, we're going.
Like never a question. Like it's just never a question with that team. And maybe that's good because then they're just like, all right, we're going for it every time, whatever.
I mean, most teams don't do that and end up with 12 wins.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like in playoff games, it can really bite you in the ass.
but listen, McVay can get pretty crazy like that too.
Not
Agreed.
as crazy as Dan Campbell is a crack.
Early McVay would get like
no,
that.
I still think he has some
He
sort
definitely
of.
has
I was
still
gonna say
that.
in the playoffs you might see that kind of McVay.
I just think like they haven't really had the opportunity as of late to do something like that, but they definitely could. It's definitely in there. It's definitely in his brain to do something like that, and he might do it. Like he might see Dan Campbell do it, and he's like, I can do that shit too. Like he might I feel like there's a lot of that in him too. But even like playing your starters last week, and then Sam Laporta gets hurt. Who else got hurt? Then somebody, Raymond, I think, got hurt, didn't he?
Oh,
One of the wide receivers. And I was like, dude,
Why are you playing? These
why,
guys?
dude?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Like this game means nothing for you. You're gonna go up 1 seed, and it's like it doesn't really matter that much. You still have a home playoff game.
Yeah.
I think that's where they can get kind of faded. But that's also what I love about them. And it sucks because it's like, yeah, like you don't want him to. He's like 4th down in his own 30, and you're like, I kind of want him to go for it, but I'm just like, no, don't go for it. Just punt it because it's like 0-0. It's like the first quarter. I'm like, what are you doing? But whatever. I picked the Lions in this game. I think they win. I think this might be like a 38-30.
Wow.
37-30.
I got Lions 27, Rams 21.
Both these teams can score points. And I like
Lions 31, Rams 27. Lions 4th quarter game-winning drive. at the
Nice.
end.
And okay, nightmare scenario for this game. Matt Stafford gets hurt and fucking Carson Wentz comes into the game.
Don't
And
say
the Rams
that.
win.
No, it's okay if I say it. It's bad if he says it. Because then it's like,
No, but
I hope the Lions
Is that
fucking
where they go on their
murder
Super Bowl
them.
run?
Oh my god.
He pulls a Nick Foles. No, it would have
Oh.
happened already though. It doesn't happen in the playoffs.
Stafford getting hurt just seems so right. Like after he said that,
Jesus.
Aiden Hutchinson gets to him, gets a good one on.
I'm like, he's
him.
like,
Is that going to be the second?
He's growling.
Is that going to be the second
Aiden
injury
Hutchinson's
prediction
growls.
that ends up right this year on this podcast?
What'd you say?
I'm never right.
Rodgers.
I don't know how you said that. I really don't.
He has-
wouldn't it be so Jets if he just like had a really bad injury week 1? Ha!
Dude, I felt when that did happen, I was like, dude, I feel horrible.
Only you would do that though.
I know, but
I
it's
can't
not
do
wrong
shit
that
like
it's
that.
the most Jets thing.
Although
It
I
was the most
do have
Jets
like
thing.
one of those like every like
So
I don't know,
often.
16
Yeah.
weeks or something, and I haven't had one yet. So that
I
would be
haven't,
insane.
dude. I haven't had one since the Rodgers thing. So
No, you had the Chris Godwin one where you're like, he's not scoring a touchdown
yeah.
this week,
Yeah,
but he's
you did.
scoring
You did
one
have
next week.
That was like week 6 or something.
Yeah, and then I was like, Hollywood Brown, and then it didn't happen.
Nah, when you said Hollywood Brown, I was like, this dude is like high as fuck right now.
This dude's on Mars. This dude's fucking crazy, dude.
All right, we got one more game.
One more game.
Stupid Monday night.
Dude,
but
this
whatever.
seems like it would be the Monday night game, too.
It's such a weird game.
Like, if none of the games were scheduled yet, and you're like, what game do you think is going to be on Monday
It would
night?
be
I'd
this
be like,
one,
oh,
yeah.
the Buccaneers by far.
Eagles at Buccaneers. Eagles are -3 right now.
To go from being like the 1 seed
Jesus,
most of the
dude.
year to like being
This?
a 5 seed
Yeah.
going to Tampa Bay.
I mean, dude, they might be trying to recreate a little bit of the mustard that they had in 2017, where it was like everybody was doubting us going into the playoffs, but we're still like this really fucking good team. So let's use that underdog moniker to our benefit.
This definitely could be a scenario where the Eagles just fucking murder them.
Oh,
This
dude,
is just
this
a-
is a steam
this,
roll.
this is just a silly.
They're
line.
gonna
This is
clip.
what
this
is the
team.
line?
3.
Is it Eagles minus
Eagles
3?
by 3. Silly in my opinion.
I feel
Baker
like
might
every
do-
time
When they're
road
down
team,
by like 20, Baker might get ejected.
Dude,
I feel like every
we've been saying every week how bad the Bucks are, and then they win, and then the next week we come on and we're like, wow, the Bucks are kind of good.
But we were saying-
and then we go to pick the game, and then we're like, oh, the Bucks suck. I'm taking the other team.
We kind of were saying that if this was the Cowboys in Tampa, though, that we would kind of get a little.
You'd be like,
frisky
ooh,
with
Tampa. No, the Eagles are really bad, and we should be taking Tampa, but I'm taking the Eagles.
Yeah. Is
Just
AJ Brown
the
going to be
only-
out, or is it not that bad?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I've heard multiple stories.
him
about
getting
that.
hurt
He
was
looked-
kind of faded too.
Listen, that looked bad.
It did look
against
bad.
the Giants, and I was like, dude,
It looked like
that
MCL.
I don't like the Eagles, but like that sucks if he gets.
It looked
hurt.
like MCL territory. I think.
I don't think he tore anything
Yeah, he'll probably play.
because he walked off.
But like,
Did he walk off?
He got helped off,
But, like-
he was on his
all right,
feet.
so say he's out. It's like, so now what? You're running Devontae Smith, who's still kind of hurt out there, Goddard and Oladipo Zaccheaus. Like, ugh. That literally, they would have to win by giving Swift the ball like 30
yeah,
times.
I was gonna say the Bucks have a pretty good secondary.
Well, no,
Which
they
is crazy because
they have-
I feel like every time the Eagles have done that this year, that's when they look good. Is when they give DeAndre Swift the ball.
true.
And like
Yeah.
I would say that, but I'm not just saying this because he's on my fantasy team. They actually do well when the running game can get going, and they just give DeAndre Swift the ball. They try to get cute with this, like with Boston Scott, with fucking Gainwell. Like they get cute with this shit, and I'm just like, just make him the feature back. You do so much better when it happens. That was when they were still beating teams, and like they looked like a Super Bowl team.
Well, they've been
They
kind of
stopped
just like
doing it, and then it's
they've
like,
just been kind of like relying on like Jalen Hurts is gonna scramble and make a play.
yeah, and then also too, they rely on the fact that like, oh, we're just scared that AJ Brown's gonna come yell at us on the sideline after. It's like, dude, who gives a fuck? You have to win this fucking game. That's what you do best is run the ball. You have the best offensive line like ever. Like just fucking run the ball.
Dude,
The more we talk about this, the more I don't like the Eagles, but I'm taking the Eagles.
Yeah,
I'm taking
dude,
the Eagles literally only because this is the Monday game.
Yeah.
This past weekend, like when we were watching the game, my grandpa was like, "They got to get rid of the tush push, though. I think they're gonna outlaw this after the season." I was like, "I mean, whatever, dude. I don't care." And he was like, "No, it's rugby." It's like, okay, but they
It's
have a
not,
really
though.
good offensive line. That's just like, if you have a great offensive line, you can do that.
Yeah, and like, I don't know. Like,
I said if
thought
the
in
Giants had a
beginning-
good offensive line, you wouldn't care.
I thought I think we've talked about this a lot, but I feel like in the beginning I definitely wanted it to be out.
What
But
are you gonna
once-
What are you gonna call the rule?
Once you started realizing that no other team,
Someone. I don't
yeah,
know.
you can't have two running backs or like you can't have people push from behind on the line of scrimmage, some dumb shit. But they're just gonna be like,
Football.
yeah, I
That's
feel like
football.
in the beginning I wanted it outlawed, but like ever since it's gone on, I'm like, no one does it like them. Like if every team was doing it like them, yes, outlaw it. But if only one team
Yeah,
has
like
success,
Jalen Hurts is a small guy, and he can kind of like ride on the ass of his center as he's getting pushed.
like
from
even
behind,
like
so
the
he doesn't touch
the
ground.
Bills are the only team that come like even
Yeah,
close.
and
But
it's because
usually
Josh Allen's just massive.
it's usually just because Josh Allen like he doesn't even like go for he doesn't even do it like the Eagles do it. He like goes off. He does it like a regular QB sneak most of the time.
And the Jags kind of do it in a way where Trevor's just long as shit, and he just kind of goes like, boop.
Like there was one on Sunday when they were playing Miami, and Leonard Fournette was like behind him and ready to like push him, and he goes to the left, and Leonard Fournette doesn't even get a chance to like push him. He just gets the first down. It's like he does. That's not what the Eagles do. That's not a tush push. They try to do it, but they don't.
I don't know. I don't have much to add about why Philly wins this game. It just feels like Philly wins this game. So I got like Philly 23, Tampa 16.
Yeah, I don't know. Does the only scenario where Tampa wins this game is if like Baker Mayfield has an insane game and Mike Evans goes crazy.
He's not going to do that.
He's not going to do that.
Philly 31-10.
Is this his first playoff game?
No, he played with Cleveland. He beat the Steelers.
He had
COVID
2
year.
playoff games?
Yeah, and then they almost beat the Browns, but that was like the Matt Moore game that Matt Moore came in, and then they ended up winning for the Chiefs.
That was the year.
Remember he came in at the end.
Oh,
for that drive.
That was either Steelers started off like 10-0, right?
Mm-hmm.
10-0, 11-0. I
Yep.
think it was 11.
They had a home playoff game, and then Cleveland went in there and just kicked their ass with Baker Mayfield.
This seems to happen when the Steelers have these really good seasons lately.
Yeah.
Together, remember the Actually, they didn't get their ass kicked by the Jags, but they lost 45-42.
Mm-hmm. I remember that game.
Remember Allen Hurns?
Yeah.
That's a name that I totally forgot about. Until
remember how
recently.
good Allen Robinson was?
Dude, the Allen brothers? Yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah. Playoffs, we just do a pick one. So it's just whatever you're most confident is, tell me, and that's what you're going with. So
Eagles.
I'm like trying to decide in my head. Chiefs.
You're such a little fat.
Is that what you were gonna pick?
Well, no, I'm picking the Dolphins.
Oh,
But one of us has to be right, I guess. So that works.
Bills.
All right. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to switch, but
My original thought was the Bills, so I'm gonna go with the Bills.
you do have one prop you like.
Travis Kelce first touchdown.
What's his face? Stephon Diggs is breaking his streak, and he's scoring a touchdown this weekend.
Yeah, what's
Booked
his streak
that
at now?
7 games or
That's
something.
crazy.
He's
dude.
scoring this weekend.
He's also. I hate when wide receivers get like pissed off on the sideline.
But
When,
he just doesn't get throwing the ball anymore. Like, there's a difference.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah, but if you're winning, like, shut the fuck up.
no, I agree.
Yeah.
But like, he's getting a touchdown this
like
weekend.
AJ Brown was doing it in the middle of like them winning when the Eagles were like winning.
Yeah.
still.
Because he was literally, like, when Stephon Diggs was doing really good with the Bills
They were sucking
earlier this year,
Yeah.
and, like,
yeah,
in the
do
past,
you not think it's
he
a
was
coincidence?
he looked like Josh Allen's, like, best friend, and he was like, oh, yeah, this is my boy.
Yeah,
I love this guy.
That's the problem I have with him. He changes up so quickly. Like one week he like loves Josh Allen, the next week he wants to like murder him. And that's like, okay, you haven't had a touchdown in 7 games. Your team's on a 5-game winning streak. Do you think like
Maybe
a change
one
in the
has to
game
do
plan
the
is
other,
what
yeah.
caused
like,
this?
dude, you
Like,
don't look good by acting like that.
He has. I think he's past his prime. But at the same time, he's still a very good wide receiver. And I do think him getting a touchdown this weekend, if they're gonna beat the fuck out of Pittsburgh, he definitely gets something.
Yeah.
He gets something out of it.
I'm just going to copy you, Nolan. Travis Kelce.
First,
Anytime.
I don't know.
touchdown? I
He's,
said
he's,
first
he's
touchdown,
just
someone
scoring a
crackhead.
touchdown.
Yeah, I
He's
just think
so
like
catching a touchdown.
the Chiefs coming out and like having like a really good drive just seems like something that they would do. Like they're gonna get the ball first and they're gonna have like one of those like really good drives. And it's just gonna end with Travis Kelce scoring, them showing Taylor Swift. They're gonna be extra with it too if it's the playoffs. Oh my god, dude.
Oh, dude, how many? I wonder if before every game, like whatever TV station's doing the game is like, Taylor, can you please do an interview with us?
Yeah. It's like
She comes down on the field if they win and like does like an interview.
It's like
I would hammer the
No,
Bills
but it's
in
like-
the next game.
But it's like
Oh no, actually, if she did an interview on the field with them, like before the game, Chiefs
then
are
you
losing.
no, say then you hammer the
If she does
No.
any sort of interview, if it's after the Chiefs win, I'm hammering the Bills for the next week.
Oh my god! So they showed fucking Jim Harbaugh with John Harbaugh during the national championship game. I was like, oh, that's weird. This is like the second quarter. I wonder why they show this now. And then like Washington started like driving and like kind of making a closer game. And then I was like, he lost to John Harbaugh in the Super Bowl. I was like, are they trying to tell us something? Like, is he gonna lose this game? I thought they were like trying to like what do you call it? What's that like?
Foreshadow?
Thank you. That's the
Yeah.
word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I thought they were trying to like foreshadow it, and then obviously they ended up winning. But I had one of those.
That game definitely seemed a lot close. Well,
That-
it seemed a lot less close than it really was.
Oh,
Like, it seemed like Michigan was murdering them, but then you looked and you're like, wait, it's still like a one-possession game.
No, there was a good stretch in the third quarter where like it could have been a tie.
Maybe it was when I turned it off because
Yeah.
I think the Bruins were playing at the same time, so I was going back and forth. But yeah, I mean, I think they just had 300 yards rushing.
Oh no, Michigan deserved to win.
That's
the game.
ridiculous.
I thought it was one of those where they're like, oh, like here's a little seed,
Yeah, they were like,
Yeah.
And is this just gonna be like brothers win the championships?
Ooh, maybe.
Ooh,
Maybe.
That was the nugget. That was
I
the nugget.
hope not, dude.
The Ravens definitely could win the Super Bowl.
I had Ravens Eagles before the year. You had Vikings and who?
Can we not do this every
But
time?
we don't do this every time.
He had the Vikings and the Bengals, maybe.
Christ, Nolan.
Who did you have?
The Bills and somebody else.
49ers?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think so.
Absolutely.
I think we were kind of low on the 49ers before the season started.
No, I remember
wasn't.
listening back. Me and you were low on the 49ers.
I definitely picked the 49ers.
I definitely was.
But
Whatever, dude. I'm faded.
any hot take?
Did I actually pick the Vikings?
You picked
Yes,
the Vikings
you
to
did.
win the Super Bowl.
No one's like, that's crazy.
It's all right, dude. It's fine.
You're like, it was August. That doesn't fucking count.
It definitely doesn't count.
Yo, that's crazy.
Hot take? Any hot take?
No.
No.
Kelsey 2 touchdowns.
Mhm.
It's not hot, but like.
Yeah, I mean, as of late, it
Taylor
would be.
Swift 2 touchdowns.
No,
I
dude,
wish-
stop. I don't want to give her the publicity.
If the Chiefs do make it to the Super Bowl, I'm so excited for the
I'm
prop
sure-
of how many times they show her on
I'm
TV.
sure she's getting more listeners after someone from the Underdog
Dude,
Sports
imagine,
podcast is listening.
Imagine,
Her
one of
odds
her
just went
agents
down.
was like, "You can't use your name on your podcast. We're gonna fucking sue you."
They're like, we were
I'd
listening
fight-
to the
I'd fight
whole
that to the
1 hour,
death.
40 minutes of the podcast, and at 1 hour and 38 minutes, you mentioned her name, and you must strike it.
I'd fight that to the death, dude. Poop. Yeah, because we have crazy ad revenue on this podcast.
Yeah, all of our one pebble that comes in probably.
We're gonna be in trouble if we do get big enough, or
Well, people are
when
gonna try
we
to be
get
like,
big enough
oh,
to do
we
ads.
gotta cancel these people.
When you do ads and they look back at what we've said and everything, they're like, "What the fuck?"
I mean, I don't think we've said anything too. We've never said anything awful. It would be very nitpicky if we did get big and
Yeah.
if we got canceled.
But that's the
something.
woke mob. Is this?
I mean,
they say what
Sal said the G word earlier.
today?
Yeah,
GAY.
yeah. I forget what you said, but
There's been worse words said on this podcast.
We've slipped a couple of times, but it's fine.
that's true.
It's fine, dude.
Do you remember what you said 5 weeks ago?
Oh yeah,
I
about
didn't say anything.
We don't
I know
know.
what-
We
but
don't
I
we
know what you're
It's
talking
time to
about.
know. It's time to know. It's time to
Is there anything else?
know. No. I
Oh,
have
what
nothing-
happened with I wanted to ask you guys this, and I guess we can just do it on the podcast because why not? What happened with Jason Whitlock and Stephen A? Why is Stephen A going like crazy on Jason Whitlock?
I don't have Twitter, so I didn't see it.
Did you see that?
Like Fox News Whitlock?
No, the fucking sports guy.
He might be on Fox News now. They made that switch.
I mean, not
sometimes.
news, Fox Sports.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, Fox Sports. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, they have the Whitlock and
Fox-
Wiley show.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I was like, wait, what? I didn't know if
For
there was
some reason,
another
I got it
Whitlock.
mixed up with Marcus Spears for a second.
But yeah, he called him like a fat bastard. Stephen A did. He called it out on Twitter, and he put out this video.
He could say whatever he wants, though. Like, no one will give a fuck because
Yo,
it's Stephen A.
you guys have to watch. I'll show you guys this video after we're done. But it was literally him on his Stephen A show or whatever show he has, podcast or whatever, and he's like, I had to ask my pastor for forgiveness about what I'm gonna say about this fucking fat bastard, and I was like, what the fuck?
Jesus.
And the comments were crazy. They were like, is he
It would
confessing? Is he premeditated murder against
Dude,
Jason
it would
Whitlock?
take a lot for Stephen A to get canceled.
Oh yeah, he's not gonna get canceled, but
he would have to
I don't know
say
what the
something
beef is about.
Egregious.
And I don't know if I missed something, but I just saw this video about him talking crazy. He didn't say any because he was trying to tease it for his whatever show he was on, so he didn't say anything. He was just saying about what he was doing he's like, I texted everyone in my phone that I could get a hold of, apologizing for the person that they're about to see. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, are you gonna murder Jason Whitlock live on your podcast?
That's crazy.
But yeah, I didn't know if you guys knew, but I don't know. I just
Why'd
saw
he
it
get pissed
on
at him?
Twitter. Huh?
Well, he doesn't know either. That's what he's asking.
That's what I'm saying. I don't
Yeah.
know why. It was just
Oh.
a video that he put out, and he's like, I'm releasing the full video tonight.
Maybe you gotta watch the full podcast to find out what happened.
I guess so. I was looking through the comments, like searching, like, is anyone gonna say what the fucking problem
I
is?
hate when there's like a reel and then it's like a riddle and then like you're trying to figure out what the riddle is and you just like you're like I don't know, maybe it's like 12 or something, and then you like look in the comments and one guy's like, oh, it's definitely 44, and then the next comment is like, no, it's 12.
Like those math
yeah,
problem
or like
ones?
whatever. I'm just like, someone answer the fucking question, tell me what it is.
Yeah, you're like scouring the comments, and like sometimes the comments are super funny, but yeah, I didn't know if you guys knew, but
No.
I just saw him going. It was like an hour before we did the podcast. I saw it, and I was like, what the fuck?
Gotta look more into that one.
I definitely will be looking. I guess I have to watch the Stephen A. Smith podcast. I don't want to, but I'm just gonna watch to the point where he said what Jason Whitlock
and then
did,
shut
and
it
it's
off.
definitely way less than like the way he's making it
Oh,
out to be,
yeah.
because he's trying to be like for clicks or
Yeah.
something. It's probably completely made up, but whatever.
Go Fins.
What's your final message to the people?
Go Pack, go.
Mine's gonna be Detroit versus everybody.